Yo, what's up? What's up? Let me add what's going on, bro?
Hey man, what's going on with you, brother?
Uh, I mean, we were talking on the phone, but I thought this would be good. Good to put it here out on the net. What's going on, man? How's that brisket?
Man, brisket looking good, man. Smoke is definitely in the building, man. Red oak, man. Smoked for 12 hours, man. 17-pound brisket couldn't came out better. I mean, juices coming out of it, man. I mean, juices from the rooter to the tutor, man. All good, baby.
Did you soak it like in a brine, or what marinade did you use?
This one we did an injection and a dry rub. We did more like a low sodium dry rub for 2 days, and then we injected it with some Cajun butter with a little bit of this Bayou Blast sauce I like to use. It's like clarified butter, but it's got like cayenne pepper in there, and we hit it with that for about a day before we put it on there.
Do you ever put like whole cloves of garlic in your meat?
If I'm doing like a shoulder or I do like a Boston, I'll cut into it and then throw a glow, crush it and then throw it in there. Um, Typically I like to do that on them type, but if I'm doing it for like a 10 or 12-hour brisket or something like that, I typically don't do it because the more holes I put into it is more ways for the juice to escape.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, so injecting it is better in that case, and then you just inject it until it starts shooting out the pressure, and all the veins is full of the juice, and then you roll with it like that. Typically, it makes sure that your meat doesn't dry prematurely. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, okay. That's what's up. So I bet that bad boy came out tender as hell.
I give a taste test to everybody. We had competition. I do a blind taste test. You know what I'm saying? So everybody get a chance to do their own. I typically like to start with a 20 pounder, maybe 15 pounder, just works out better for the juice. Some people do 10 pounders, they do the flat. I do the whole brisket untrimmed just because it winds up juicier. And I let everybody do their own you know, give a scale of 1 to 5. You know what I mean? I let them be the telling it. I'm
Now,
averaging four
so
or
you
five.
do competition?
Yeah,
Oh, that's what's up. Oh, that's what's up.
yeah,
I'm
man. It's
surprised.
barbecue pit boys, Houston Smoking, official chapter of barbecue pit boys.
Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. Ah, let me see. Wait, hold on. Let me see where my boy Charles at.
How everything rolling, man, on the East Coast, man.
Okay, okay. Hold on one second. He ain't pick up. All right, he's probably knocked the fuck out. Um, I had yesterday off, Easter off. These prices are going up again. So I mean, with the food
Yeah.
and what I'm concerned about, soon as it get warm, motherfuckers want to act a damn fool. So it's about that season about to start. Killing season in the hood.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing that as well, brother. I kind of feel that weight coming up, right?
Yeah,
Something
and
like a drop or something. I'm saying I remember when it was, when the George Floyd thing happened with the summer of the George Floyd thing, right? At the culmination of like all the bull crap, right? And it seems like we're kind of almost maybe repeating this process with this new case that they have gotten with this Austin Metcalf thing. I mean, a small case has been blown up into this big deal, and I think that with the tariffs and all that stuff that's going on, man, I'm smelling a little bit of that too, brother. I mean, you might not be off by it, man.
uh, and perfect segue. Those that is currently listening, thank you. I know this is late night. That's why it's a Insomniac stream. If you catch this on a replay, thank you for listening. Like I was talking to you on the phone, like just all day today, I just had this heavy feeling in my fucking body. Just like when I said to you on the phone, like you know when something's about to happen. You know, like back in the day, like we, um, when somebody's about to die, you just have that heavy feeling. What's up, Adric? Bring your
Right.
butt up here. Uh, I
Yeah, it's
think,
like that, like it's unsaid, but you can feel it more than
yeah,
you know, like that, right?
yeah. I just think one with the fucking economy and with everything is going on, and with this current situation, with I think motherfuckers about to lose their fucking mind. I honestly think something bad is about to happen. I I mean, the economy is like it's a fucking perfect storm for this shit to pop off. Like you and I was looking at the video today, Sabby Sabs, where they talking about these Gen Zers. They totally given up because they're not getting paid enough. Homes is too fucking expensive to buy. And like I said, I remember when Jason Black said this shit. When the economy gets bad, these white boys is gonna lose their fucking mind and get ultra violent. Yo, Adric, you wanna come up? Hit the link. Anybody that wanna come in, hit the link. Let me
Yeah, man. I've seen the fervor and the you know I can see it right. I know what you mean. It's that sentiment, and then I see on the other side I see the fervor as well on our side of the thing that's building up as well. So it's like it's like a crescendo, right? A
yeah.
climax, a climactic point. Something's going to happen, like a powder keg, and we don't know exactly when or how, but it smells like a fire.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had what's up? I'm listening. What's going on, brother? If you want to come up, come up. I haven't got the opportunity yet to I had downloaded the police report and I haven't really educated myself fully. I haven't caught totally up currently with everything that's coming out about this case. But the things that I've
Right.
seen, you got these fucking white nationalists trying to turn pop like make this shit bigger than it is. And I really think they want to they want to enact their Turner Diaries. They want to make the Turner Diaries come real. I what's up, Sick Diggity? What's going
Hey,
on?
yeah, I think that there's a big component of that, man, for sure. And any kind of like class that the ones who was them puppet masters. You remember the show, the movie Puppet Masters, right? Way back in the day. You old enough to remember that shit, right?
Yeah, from New Line Cinema.
right, and they was controlling the puppets, but the puppets were controlled by demons, right?
Yeah,
And so I,
go
the
ahead.
puppets are just right. They're just inanimate objects until the demon takes a hold of the demon can take care, to take a hold of the most innocent looking puppet in there, and they could take a hold of the most evil one. And they're both using both of them in order to gain what they need. And what they need is us to fight. They need a civil war. They need it because that's how they clamp down on us. Well, we gotta do martial law. We gotta do XYZ. Hey, we have problems. We gotta do it. So, hey, we're helping you. We're gonna shut down this and shut down that. And that don't help us as brothers, right? You know what I'm saying? And the people that has already got all the money, they win. We don't win at all. Even if we go to war and we win, there is no win. It's a zero-sum game. We have a civil war, which a lot of those white nationalists want. They've been wanting that, for
A
years,
race
bro.
war.
They've been
But
wanted that, right?
but here's the thing: these motherfuckers are having a fucking meltdown, and I said it plenty of times. And Sergeant Willie Pete said this shit so eloquently. This generate they. What's up, Detroit? What's going on, brother? Man, do you ever sleep, man? You got these white boys. They ultra privileged. They heavily entitled, and where they in this predicament where they granddaddies, all they had to do, like I told you on the phone, all they had to do was work in a fucking factory, have a high school education. He gets his white picket fence, have his wife, 2.5 kids, a fucking dog, go on vacation 1 or 2 times a year, and and
Live contentment.
competition is smacking them in the fucking face like everybody else, and they have to
Oh yeah,
compete. They finally have to compete. And where I was reading an article where the like one it is all around, like real world is hitting them in the face because one, the minimum wage isn't up to where it's supposed to be in a lot of states where, especially in Bible Belt, where it's still
Right to work
$7 an
states.
hour. And what's the term where they could fire you
Right
at
to work
will?
states.
at
Yeah,
will, at will.
yeah, at
Yeah,
will. So motherfuckers are working two jobs and getting nowhere because a house up here in the Northeast is $1 million. Down south, I know, like in Tennessee, whatever, it's like 700,000 for a normal size house, and they're looking
yeah.
at all these other people coming over here, like the
Yeah.
Patels and the Asians and the Nigerians and Kenyans, because our education system is so fucked up and never kept up with the world. And they come
Right.
over here majoring in STEM, and they coming over here getting their American dream, making good money. Is like,
And they
this is
know
the
what to
land.
expect. They
Yeah,
know what
this
to
is
expect, brother. They know what to
this,
expect because you're
yeah, like,
absolutely
and they're looking at it like this is the land my ancestors conquered. My granddaddy, all he had to do was work in a fucking factory and have a good living. And I'm busting my ass, getting nowhere, going in circles, being stagnant. But yet all
right.
these other people are living better than me.
Right. They
What does
they
that tell
batting
you?
500 by default, Lewis. They batting 500 by default. And now they starting to dip under that 500. Anybody knows a baseball analogy will understand what I'm saying.
Hmm.
But I'll give you one further, and brother, and then you go after that. What I'm saying is this: to add to this right here in in Texas, it's one step further. So some of those guys didn't finish high school. Some of them
Oh,
were grandfathered in from their way, and they was getting. And I was talking to my old father-in-law about this, and he was explaining to me because he's older than me and he knows more Texas history than me. And he said, "Man, back in the day, they would buy these pieces of land for 50 cents an acre, brother. Hear me out. 50 cents an acre." And he was like, shit, when we finally got free enough to get our land, some sharecroppers was deeded land based on their service and after the war, and then after Jim Crow as well, because there was two apartheids for us. And he said, we, the ones that couldn't get their deeds, they would burn the courthouse down, get rid of your deeds, they would get rid of your birth certificates, they was getting rid of everything to stop brothers from getting their land that was owed. So when you got that other cat, that $5 Indian, or that one guy, that boss hog in that area, he's got 100 acres. Now he done throw your land. Now he's got 20,000 acres. And now his family, dumb in a box of rocks, fam, shooting at the back. I mean, straight up redneck as far as you can say, every stereotype fit them. And guess what? They don't even have to go to school. They dumb offspring, and I'm not saying that in a pejorative way. What I'm saying is that the person who was not educated can now come in, feed the cows, take them to the sale, and they ain't gotta never ever get into that system. And not only that, they're writing off all of this stuff in Texas. We don't know how to do this. We're learning. Well, in Texas, when you sell a cow at auction, feds can't touch none of the money. If you sell a livestock animal once a year, you can file for homestead on your property and you can get major. You got a tractor, oh yeah, you can pay that off, even if you had a loan on it or whatever. You can pay it off. And say now over the years, what they was able to do was when we worked in the land, we was the ones that cultivated this, we was the ones that did all this work. The best rodeos, best cowboys, best everything. You know what I'm saying? We was took out of that because they took our land, learned what we had, and now they said, well, we're gonna replace y'all with this cheap labor. And we lost our land. So they said, well, you want to compete on 1-to-1. You can't because you got 400, 500 years of just what you just said. And like here, right, you got some areas now, they even sucking us up. And as black people, we have to realize they have some areas where they have some $250,000 house, brand new stuff, right? $300,000 houses. They got some $500,000 stuff. They got some $1 million stuff. But for the most part, it's lower than most of the country. Not Austin, but Houston. And you can look at this stuff now where you would be better off if you had $500,000. Do not spend it in a subdivision and buy a damn house because you number one don't own the material underneath it, the mineral rights. And then if your grass is 2 inches higher than what they like, they can take your shit. Your garbage can is red. They said it's got to be black, and you didn't take it out. It's 901. We got our snitch to take a picture of it. Now it's $3,000. First warning. We taking your property. And when you go out there, let's say you take 50,000, go out here and get some land. I'm talking about, man, you probably can get you about a good now. A couple of places where I've been seeing can get you about a good 10, 20 acres for about 50,000. Non-deed restricted, you know what I'm saying? Land, mineral rights, all. And when we go out here and we go and get this stuff in this subdivision, yeah, it look good. Yeah, we keeping up the Joneses. But man, look here, them folk there, they got that land out there in that country with them cows on it, and they folks ain't got to turn or hit a swat at a fly. They sell them calves, especially where the commodities is now with that beef. That's why I asked you how much the brisket was up your way. Because man, right now you can sell a 400, 500 pound calf and get damn near $1,500. It's crazy the amount of money that's here. You would be a damn fool if you didn't get no damn land and put something on there. And they've been figured this out, and we have not. And we're gonna have to put a stop to that immediately because you're absolutely correct. A lot of those guys now are mad because they got to go and compete with us on a zero-sum game, and they're not liking it, brother.
What's up, Neymar? How you doing? What's up, Adric? Welcome.
Peace.
What's going on, Neymar? I know you wanted to say something. You there?
Yo, can you hear me? All right. Sorry, I muted myself. Excuse me. First of all, shit, y'all might as well wish. Y'all better pray for me. I gotta go to the doctor. I gotta go to the doctor later today.
What they going up the subway tunnel?
Yeah, they're going up the Hershey Highway.
And how old are you?
I'm 42. This is gonna be the second.
Yeah, I gotta get the finger poke of doom soon.
Oh, not that one. I gotta get that big scope up. See what's going on. Big shout out to our man Herbert because he did give us a heads up about we got to do those tests because when he got his test they found out that he had polyps and everything. So I'm going to get mine done. It's gonna be the second time I've done that in my life. First time was at 29, so I'm good. Well, and brothers, don't be afraid about getting these tests, man. As uncomfortable as they are, they're not as uncomfortable as what the women have to go through. Anytime a woman mocks you for the finger point of doom, just explain to her, it's nothing compared to what you got to go through. And we've seen what you got to go through. So watch it. But anyway.
True. Everybody out there, maintain your health.
Maintain your health. Get your blood work done. Get everything done, especially that blood work. You always got to get that done. Anyway, regarding what everybody's saying right here, I get it. I mean, and I've mentioned this before. The only people who are not going to be broken by the system, when it comes to the common folks, that is the ones of us who are already broken. Because those of us who've been broken are able to rebuild ourselves one way or another, and we see this shit, and we're like, hey, it doesn't affect us like emotionally like it does other people. But you see how a lot of these people have to compete, but they're demanding that your side gets y'all get hamstrung in the process. They can't compete one-on-one with you guys fairly. It's like they expect you to it's like doing a race it's like doing a mountain bike race where they expect you to do that where you have to ride the bikes with that one big wheel and that little wheel like from the 19th century and everything.
Well, I think a better analogy is if anybody listening, I hope my boy Detro come in. If you're battle hardened and you went through training in a military term, you're ready
Right.
for battle. If you constantly train, and unfortunately with us ADOS, or if you lived in you working poor or lower middle class, came out of, you know how to deal with adversity. You know how to make what was the term? Make $1 out of 15 cents. You know how
Yes,
to make
You
things
know how to make things
last
stretch. You can
long.
make things happen. Yeah, you become very you're more financially disciplined, fiscally responsible.
yeah.
And
Another one
I'm seeing a lot of motherfuckers losing their mind right now, and I'm just feeling it in the air where the tension is getting very thick right now.
This is what Dave Chappelle once asked. First of all, what is a black man without his paranoia intact? And he said that on Oprah when she was like, mocking because it was his first interview he did after leaving Chappelle show. And she said, "Aren't you a little paranoid? This and that." And he looked at her and said, "Well, first of all, what's a black man without his paranoia intact? You guys got to, because we got to keep your heads on a swivel at all times. Anytime, because the day because that day when you got to leave the house, and when you come back home, anything can happen to you.
Man, at any time. At
any time.
And
At home. Even at home. Breonna Taylor, anybody?
And I want to say this to those that are listening. I know in the space is great content with with this gender war bullshit. And anybody that's out here that may feel frustrated that you do not have a significant other right now, this could be a blessing for you. Me, I have a family. If you're out here alone, channel your frustration and energy into a very positive direction.
Absolutely.
And you just have you. Make yourself as valuable out here as possible. Learn, use this energy to learn and better yourself. And you by yourself, so that's one less person that you have to, that is probably, I won't say burden because that's a disrespectful term. I would say
you gotta
you
look
just
out
got
for
you to
number
take
one.
care of, and you are probably going to be in a better predicament of surviving.
But I will say this, Louis, and Patrice O'Neill said it best, and this is for anybody who has a family or a significant other or whatnot. You have to put yourself first because it all depends on you, right? So at the end of the day, like Patrice said, like when he explained about his relationship, he said to his woman, she's the fourth most important thing in his life. It was him, his livelihood, his family, and then her.
But
And if she kept acting fool, then it'd be his fish. But what I'm saying is basically because everybody depends on you, you got to make sure you're okay first and foremost. If you're not okay, you can't take care of everybody. And that's with everybody.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, Naima.
Okay.
One, when you have children, your children didn't ask to come here.
Oh, that's true. You got people
And
to look out for. I know.
and
Good
and when you decide to do the do and make a family or whatever,
Right.
your position is about duty. I understand where you're coming from,
Yeah.
because if your parents thought that way, you wouldn't be here right now.
That's right.
That's right. I remember my father, God rest his soul, he was focused on us, hoping that, when we got older, we'd take care of him. And we were able to up until his time to go. My mother, she's comfortable right now, but I understand, and she's safe where she's at. But we all understand shit can go left at any moment.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say I had this conversation. My kid grown, right? So, we have a different conversation now, right? Because everybody got to pay their own bills, and you're getting into the world, right? You're starting off. And we had this same conversation, man, and I was explaining that because I was like, man, when you do have kids, and I explained to her, she's like, well, why didn't you do X, Y, Z? And I was like, because she's like, okay, I'm looking at it from being my age and your age, and I said, because of you. And it really blew my daughter's mind, because she was like, oh, you did that because of me. I was like, yeah. She's like, you did that because of me. I said, yeah, I had to. I had to go out here and get this house. I had to go out here and do this. I might have to sacrifice and eat a little crow every now and then to make sure you was straight. And I had to do that because of family. Now, she don't have any kids, but she had to realize that, because children are selfish by nature, but they didn't ask to come here. Like you said, Louis, your duty is to take care of them. And that's in financial, that's physical, and that's in mental. So you have to train them. A lot of
And
times they don't want,
spiritual.
and spiritual as well, right? You know what I'm saying? And I tell her that all the time, so, man, watch your words. You speak things in a so I don't hate anybody. I don't hate anybody, because that's such a strong word. I don't like them. I hate certain things they may do. But when I become hateful, then I create myself in the way that the oppressor hates me. So when I'm channeling his energy, I can be no better than him.
Absolutely, absolutely. What's going on, Adrian?
Just want to get on this anxiety that's happened with your brothers.
Yeah, man. it, I had just got off like an hour ago from work, and and it's the end of the month, and motherfuckers are acting paranoid and shit. It's like almost when COVID happened.
You talking about the public, or you talking about the staff?
The public,
Gotcha.
the customers.
Especially after tax season. Well, you guys you're still doing your taxes, right?
Nah, tax is over.
Okay.
April
A
14th.
lot of cats in the hood. They bought their lemons. They use BMWs and use Lexuses and
Yeah, the tax season. The tax
new
season come on.
Balenciaga sneakers. You see a bunch of that around, and those $500 slides I be seeing these chicks wearing. I forgot what brand it is. I know the dudes be getting the Gucci slides, and the broads be getting I think they're Chanel or Dolce Gabbana.
Yeah, like them Chanel ones and
Yeah, all
yeah.
that shit.
Yeah, they start going up high right now, huh?
Yeah.
And for what it's worth, right? We all, man, I guess we all old enough to remember Fubu, right?
Yeah.
That's Damon John, right? And he created that line. And for us, by us, I remember when he first created, I remember a lot of the black designers. And he
Fubu.
explained,
Yeah,
right,
Fubu.
and he had a lot of, back and forth trying to get stuff done and stuff like that. I'm sure some of the similar things that Kanye ran up into,
Carl
but
Kanai as well.
Yeah, Carl Kanai, right? Yeah, you're right. Chicago, it was a big thing, especially up north and on the east. I know for sure. When
I
Carl
had
Papa Don
Kanai,
in New York.
I had like 15 Carl Kanai jean suits back in the day.
man, them Carl
Oh,
Kanai jeans was the truth, bro. Them Carl Kanai jeans was live back then, right?
Well, you know he still makes stuff, but the people don't support him.
Well, I mean, if we're going to give money to damn near basically bootleg versions of these big name people, and we won't. Now, if you wear a FUBU now, people be like, "Oh man, we got FUBU." You know, we shit on it, right? Oh man, you ain't you dusty that dusty ass FUBU shit. You know, we on this Gucci shit. But really, we understanding Damon John. Look at how many businesses he's helped funded in the community in America in general. He's on the whole show, right? You know, we should support that guy. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's what I would say. Hey, that's great, but when last time you went in the store and could see a piece of food or something that the brother then made? I'm sure he's into diversification now. I'm sure he's in
Well,
some.
if you go to Burlington Coat Factory, you'll see FUBU.
Oh, okay, Burlington.
yeah.
Yeah.
What about since you mentioned a certain brand, Fila is another example.
Huh?
You remember the shoe brand Fila?
Well, guess what? That made a comeback out here in Jersey.
All right.
Yeah, Fila is definitely over here at what is it, YSS, the little store, the little shoe store. They got Fila, they got a whole section of Fila stuff. They definitely have made a comeback. And
Well,
pretty re-
all retro stuff is making a comeback. Let me tell you, as a matter of fact,
Hmm.
anybody familiar with New Balance?
Yeah.
yeah,
You know the
Oh, they've been on a
550s?
tear.
You know the New Balance 550 sneakers?
No, I haven't checked them out. I'm gonna check them out.
Well,
yeah.
last year, no, like 2 years ago,
Mhm.
they were $50 at Foot Locker and what is now Foot Action, which is now Snipes over here. Those
Right.
bad boys are selling for $100 right now.
God
And,
damn.
and with fashion, what is old is new again. What is new will be old. Everything go in cycles.
Yeah, I went to the mall the other day, man, and I think that's what they used to be was Foot Action. And I don't know if they do it by region, but I know what you're talking about. It's the same people, they rebranded it, right? And that store, I went in there to take a look. I seen some New Balances, some orange and gray ones. Man, it's nice. And I'm like, yeah, normally they were like what, 49.99, maybe 59.99. Man, that shit was like $80 plus tax, like they're $100 now.
Mm-hmm. And the New Balances are like 160 where I'm at.
What
But
the
the
hell?
550s, which used
Yeah.
to be $49.99,
Right.
are now $100. And guess what? If you bought them 2 years ago, people would have made fun of you. And now that's the new shit. It,
Man,
it's just
look
mind
at
boggling.
Champion. Look at Champion, bro. When I was coming up,
Oh, I
now
remember Champion.
Remember that Champion was coming up, and that was back in the days where Nike, Reebok, Adidas, they had a lockdown, right? You didn't have that. Your family was bumming. The niggas was wearing Spaldings to school and Champions, man. They were getting bullied, getting put in the garbage can for wearing a damn Champion. And look at
Oh,
the
that's
Champion.
cool.
Well, well, you mean you're talking about Champion sneakers?
No, Champion
I mean,
clothing.
the
Anything clothing.
brand alone now, the brand alone, but back then it was
Well, let me tell you something. I'm 50 years old. So in the late 80s, early 90s, all you needed as a dude was brand new, some clean, fresh kicks. All you had to
True.
do, I mean, you could get your Levi's 550s or your Jabot jeans, and all you needed was if you had money, you had access to money because you're a kid. All you needed was a nice, crispy Champion sweatshirt. If you was lower tier, you had the Russell sweatshirts, but the Champion sweatshirts were better quality, and the girls would drop the draws to you.
Yeah,
Oh.
and the thing was in Chicago, right? When I was coming up, I guess it would be like more of the prototype of like the brand nameage, right? Kalkanai was still strong, Jabot, of course we had Average, First Down, Fubu, came a little later, but you had what else? Cross Colors. You had a lot of brothers that was bringing out their different brands. You had that, and then you had the Champion, which was a lower brand, but they had good quality. And you had, like you said, the Russell, and a lot of people had the Spalding. I seen so many dudes come to, with the Spaldings, man. I mean, get whooped because they ain't like I was talking about their shoes. And man, like I'm telling you, like literally. And I'm like, and then that was during time, just like now, right? They would just take your Jordans off your feet. You had a pair of Jordans,
Well,
you better be
wait,
ready to go for it.
how old are you? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm 40.
Well, I'm 50, and when it came to gear, Spalding and Champion made good sportswear. But when I was young, like you had your Nikes, your Reeboks, your British Nikes, your Troops, your
LA
Fila,
Gear.
your LA Gear. That had like a nice 2-3 year run.
Yeah.
I remember
Um,
those.
what was the other sneaker? You had Saucony, Diadora, all that. Like
K-Swiss.
now everybody here wears Jordans or some foam posits. But the funny thing was when I was coming up, for the most part, if you bought signature sneakers, like with the ball, your favorite player, they only came in the colors that the team it played for. Like your Bo Jacksons only came in black, gray, and white. So you had the white and gray with the black accent, and then the black and gray ones with the white accent. Or Jordan, his
They were
stuff
playing with
only
the
came
Raiders.
in Bulls colors. So you had to
Right.
buy different color sneakers, like Adidas. That was what I was thinking of. Like you had to get the
Like
Adidas
King
form.
Griffey Jr. Remember them King Griffey Juniors we played for? I think it was the
That was the
Mariners.
greatest to me. That was the greatest sneaker ever made. I
Man, them
like
King
I buy King Griffey Juniors like how people buy Jordans. To me, that was
I
the
remember
greatest sneaker ever made. And plus, King Griffey Jr. was one of my favorite baseball players coming up.
hell yeah. Hell yeah. I remember them Stackhouse. Remember George Stackhouse had him some. Um Grant Hill, the Grant Hills was
All the
nice.
Grant Hill Filas,
Yeah,
they
they
won
came
they
they
won
do.
they won 150 for those right now in the stores.
Oh yeah. You feel me? They brought him back out, but it's a nice shoe. I mean, it is.
Uh the Penny Hardaways, um I
Ooh.
mean the Anthony Hardaways, the
No, Penny Hardaway.
yeah, the one with
Anthony. It was Anthony, not
yeah,
Anthony. It's Anthony.
The one
So
with
Penny.
the bubble, the Penny Hardaway was the one with the bubbles on. I know what you're talking about. That was back in the
um
days. Remember when one
you
of them
had
hollered
Larry
at Tyra
Johnson,
Banks or something?
you had the Larry Johnson Converses. Yeah, so you had to buy different sneakers to go with your outfits because you didn't have one sneaker that came in different colors for the most part.
If y'all remember the movie Boomerang, what was the one thing that John Witherspoon always said about your outfit? You had to coordinate.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to,
But
man. You got
to your point about New Balance. New Balance is the prices went up primarily back in like 2013, no 2012, 2013. Because that's when their profile became they raised their profile around that time. And how did they do it? No, in Europe primarily they did it.
Well, in 2013, New Balances were irrelevant over here
Yeah,
in the
but
US. The
yeah, I
only ones
know.
that they were making the dad sneakers.
Yeah, at that time, yeah, but they raised they raised their profile first when they started doing like athletic wear deals with certain soccer teams in Europe. One of the big ones they did one with Liverpool FC, and that when they had quite a good run with them, and then that raised the profile of New Balance that way. Then a lot of teams started, doing apparel deals with New Balance, and then that's when The shoe deal came. What about Asics? Y'all remember the shoe brand Asics?
Yeah, well, yeah,
Ace,
that was my
Aces, that's
favorite Asics.
Asics.
Yeah,
Asics is it? Okay.
well, that one, that was my when I used to do a lot of running, when I had
Mhm.
knees that actually worked. That's all I wore was Asics
Mm.
for running.
Oh
And
man.
and if it wasn't for Asics, Nike would not be in the position that it is right now.
hmm Who remembers Starter?
I got robbed for a starter jacket once.
I had a pair of reverse I had a pair of reverse shorts and sleeveless tee by Starters.
I got robbed for
I
my
used to wear those when I used to play basketball and everything.
I got robbed for my Miami Hurricanes starter jacket.
God damn.
oh man, you was a Hurricane fan, man.
Well,
You-
where it came to college football, I was a Florida Gator fan, but everybody rooted for
The
Miami
Canes.
because it was all black. And when I came
Yeah.
up, everybody was a UNLV fan because it was
Oh,
an
that
all black team. So
especially with Grandmama going #1 in the draft.
Ackles
Nah, for
Hunt.
sure. Yeah, that Miami, I had everybody back then when I was coming up, right? They had when the starter jackets came out, right? It was like mostly everybody had the Raiders, or they'll have San Francisco. You have a couple of Bears people, and where I'm coming from, right? But everybody had the Raiders. You know, if you go out there with that starter Raiders jacket, just go ahead and put your pistol in your pocket. 'Cause
Oh,
shit,
you get jumped for anything Raiders, even a T-shirt.
they come and get that. Like them starter jackets, like you were saying, man, that shit was serious. Them starter jackets, man, they wasn't playing no game.
Starter
If
jackets, caps, anything.
you had one, brother, that starter
Uh,
jacket, like pair
no.
of Jordans on your feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you had the triple fat gooses, the goose leather V's, the Sherlins, the sheepskins, the Averex jackets, the
First down,
oh yeah.
first down jackets, man. You had to have it up north because it's so damn cold. You know, you gotta have that first down, man. That's a serious jacket, man.
Mm.
Here in Jersey, it was like survival of the fittest.
Especially in the bricks. You also had rough, I'm sure it was pretty rough in other areas. Montclair, Jersey City.
Montclair's middle class to upper middle
No,
class.
sorry, my bad. Not Montclair. Was it Jersey City? I think.
Well, Jersey City, Newark,
Mhm.
East
Newark,
Orange, Irvington,
East Orange,
the
Patterson.
Patterson, Passaic, Camden,
Yeah,
Perth Amboy. Those
yeah.
were the rough cities in Jersey.
Orange. What is it called again?
East Orange.
East East Orange, New Jersey.
Orange was a working class black neighborhood.
Wait a minute. That's where Lean on Me was set in.
No,
East Side High.
Lean on Me was in Patterson.
Oh, sorry, Patterson. Sorry, keep getting the cities mixed up.
Patterson East Side. We used to play them in football every. They was on in our division.
That when what's his name? Mr. What's the name of the principal?
You had you talking about Joe
Joe Son-
Clark,
Joe Clark.
and then he became the superintendent of Essex County Juvenile Corrections.
Ah,
Man, that movie right there, bro. I swear, when Morgan Freeman said, "Boy, you smoking crack? You smoking that crack, boy?" That shit was so damn funny.
Well,
That
the
shit was
the the, the fat boy, the one that was on crack, he was from Newark.
yeah. I've seen. He's been in other movies before. Y'all might remember. I remember he had a couple appearances on the Wayans Brothers show as their boy Kitchens. A few other movies I've seen him in, but he's been around, still around. If you remember the guys who sang in Fair East Side, they were part. They were they were graduates from East Side High, and they were part of an R&B group at the time. There's a clip of them when they went back, and they sang the whole song. The
Oh,
school
for
song.
real?
Yeah. Oh, I remember this is back in 2016. Everything
Okay.
with the audio from Morgan Freeman's character when they were caught in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up,
They're still
Jeremiah?
around.
How you doing, brother? Long time no see, man.
Jeremiah L. Jeremias.
Salute, brother. Salute.
Shalom, brother. Shalom.
Shalom. Oh, you Jewish? Okay.
Hebrew.
Oh, Hebrews, right? All right.
My Hebrew
Jeremiah.
brother right there.
All right.
Long time no see. How you been doing, brother? I hope everything been good for you.
Yeah, I was looking
Nice
at
avatar.
I was looking at a couple of things, man, the other day. And I was thinking about like that generational wealth. We were on that earlier, right? We were speaking about how Mr. Charlie now is getting mad because he having to pack fair, right?
Well, I was talking to a sister at the store today, and sometimes I have a tendency to talk loud, and it was a mayonnaise person that was listening. Shout out to Tariq Nasheed, mayonnaise. And I honestly believe this. Donald Trump is used by God. He's going to fuck shit up so bad in this country. And this is the end of the American empire. And we're witnessing it. And what's up, Chaos? How you doing, good brother?
Oh,
And
yeah.
everybody is about to get their nigga wake-up call because everybody is going to be equal. And these motherfuckers are about to become who they despise for centuries. They're about to become a nigga too.
That's right. You know what I'm saying? And it's been happening for quite a long while. I liken it to the frog in the pot, right? If you just throw him in there, you know what I'm saying, and he's in the pot, he can swim around, it's getting a little warmer and a little warmer. He would never jump out until he died. But when you throw him in there in a hot scalding pot of water, he gonna jump up out of there. So they've been increasingly doing this to all of us. They've been more insulated though, Lewis, right? Those average, you know what I'm saying, guys we come up with the generational wealth, those one, his daddy was able to work that one job and get that land and get this here for years and years and years.
Mhm.
Okay, that generational wealth now has gotten to a point where they have to actually compete with everyone else.
Well, I kind of disagree because with the great myth, everybody thinks all white people doing good.
No.
And I always say this, especially to a lot of white people who they were like with that proverbial shit, pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yeah, bootstraps.
Right, let me tell you something. Racism was the biggest joke ever played on white people because the motherfuckers that control this system convinced them that their skin color is more important than their economic standing. And most white people that don't got a pot to piss in has been brainwashed, and they're the ones that constantly vote against their own interests, which is so funny. And white supremacy is breaking their own tools. They're breaking their toys right now.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they're so brainwashed to realize that they're getting their ass kicked.
But they don't care. And I say that because as long as they feel I'm better than you, I got one up on you. So that's their mantra, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Right.
their whiteness.
When they
Exactly.
they found out, Lewis, with the welfare, and found out that the poor white trash or the trailer park contingent was actually using more welfare than the people that they say they want to cut the welfare off for, minorities, black people as number one. They actually use more of it than us.
Well, it's more
Because
white
that's
people. Well, it's more white
exactly.
people in this country, bro.
Exactly.
We only
Exactly.
what? Are we still at 12% of the population?
If that.
If that we were going down for sure.
Your fucking Bible Belt is all in Dust Belt, all white people. Like Mississippi, one of the
My
most
God.
racist states in the union, if you want to say if there's a ranking on racism, because we're in America, all of America
high.
is fucking racist, but they're dead last when it come to education. Them in Arkansas keep on flip-flopping for last place.
Oh yeah, and Alabama ain't too far behind. Louisiana, I mean that trifecta, the Oklamas itself, right? The Oklamas is horrible in that fashion. You're absolutely correct. And what's funny is that black
And
people
look,
now,
and think about it. You sorry to cut you off. You think about Mississippi and Alabama, right? What are they known for? Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Alabama football, Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
College football. That's all they
Yeah,
got.
using black bodies.
Right.
And what was it
and
that if I
twin
may?
stepsisters, the twin stepsisters of hate. That's why they look exactly the same. The only difference is the Mississippi River is on our side, so it cuts from there. But the twin stepsisters of hate in America, and they just both got their back against each other, just with the most hatred there. Oh, yeah, it's definitely there, heavily. You're absolutely correct.
I
Yo,
remember
hey, Jeremiah, if you want to come up, anybody, the link is pinned to the top. I got 2 more slots. I gotta pay my my StreamYard bill to renew it. So if any of y'all want to come by, I know Chaos. If you want to come up, hit the link is on at the top of the chat. Let me I'll post the link again.
to Shattered's point, I remember it was the elder Dick Gregory said it best. He said, you wanna know what's the best way to hamstring how to get these states to act right with regarding black folks?
What's that?
Convince it's basically have all of your football players transfer to other schools. Have your student and body, all the black members of the student body, transfer to other schools because they know they're nothing without these kids. Whether it's Ole Miss or Alabama, send them to other places like Auburn and whatnot, and then they're going to act right because these are the only things that's that's providing the state with whatever. This is the main cash cow for the states.
Well, go ahead, brother.
Well, I'm saying the money, because those enrollments and those scholarship players, if anybody doesn't believe it, just look at what Deion Sanders has done, which a lot of people don't give him his credit for, but just with the portal alone.
Jackson State.
Right? That's one. Yeah, swag, man. Jack State, man, 1,000. With the portal alone, with the transfer portal alone, where you can get some of these D2 athletes that's good and quality athletes, but they are being unnecessarily lowered in their ranking because why? Because the D1 got a system of the recruiting, and a lot of these black athletes they go unheard of. And he started at Jack State, went up there to Colorado, they got mad at him. But I see what he was doing. And now you can move these players around with the portal. It's a plus, and it's a move into what you were saying earlier, brother. And I think Deion Sanders is a prime example. Funny, I didn't mean that but yeah, he's a prime example.
No pun intended.
Oh no, you got it right, boss. You got it right. I'm the prime. Cause it's gonna be prime time over here. You know what I'm saying? Gonna be prime time. Not my best impression, but hey, I'm working on it.
I rock with Prime. When Prime came to Mississippi, they robbed this man car so many damn times, robbed his damn house before he even got in the door and swept the damn
His
office out.
office. His office
Man,
too.
They robbed this man blind a couple of times. He could have easily have left and said, man, fuck this shit. He stayed down, had his son up in there, came through with the swag. He didn't come with that D1 spoon in his mouth because his daddy was Deion. He came up in that swag, and then when his daddy went to Colorado, he came with him. That's what we talking about. You know what I'm saying? Now, that's not necessarily nepotism. You can say it is. But
What's wrong?
will he make it?
But what's wrong with nepotism?
I look at it as terms of if you didn't let your son do no work, then weak men uh make hard times because now he didn't have to do no work like maybe Dion had to do, and because what Dion did, he made it easy route. But is he a good player? And if we
But
know Prime,
but
didn't nobody come through with no bullshit.
man, fuck that. White people been doing that for the longest. I'm hoping for the days a
Right?
bunch of black nepotism. Shout out to LeBron James. Fuck that.
Hey, yeah, I mean that's what they made
Shout,
the
shout,
word.
shout out to black nepotism.
But
You
look,
know
that's what
what?
they made, right? They made the word nepotism, but really it was just all right, man. If
It's
I'm
called
working like
networking. It's called networking.
you
That
gotta
that
know somebody, right? If
yeah,
you're working at the
look,
factory,
that's how a lot of white boys got to head up. Like I know plenty of people, motherfuckers they even finish high school, but because they brother-in-law work in construction and they got a good job, so he could take care of his sister.
yeah,
It's who
and,
you know. It's called networking. Like
and he
you
never did no
wait.
construction.
Do
You
you
know what I'm saying?
listen to the Pivot podcast? Listen to what Anthony Mackie said. Success is given.
I think I remember seeing some stuff he was talking about. They got on his ass, but I think what the man was saying was proper because it was facts. I didn't take no lies what he said.
I'm hoping for the days a bunch of black nepotism.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They made a word for it, right? I mean, we already know what nepotism means,
You see that in Africa, my dude.
but nepotism, right? Okay, you go back to the royalty, right? You go back to the royals. Okay, that's nepotism, right? In full aspect, right? Royalty, kings and queens, and the royal bloodline. Of course, that's nepotism. If that's ain't nepotism, I don't know what it is. And that's what they do, and it's okay because that's the royals and this and that. Well, your son. I mean, let's just say I'm not LeBron. Let's just say I'm Joe Schmo working up here at GM. And when my son get of age, I said, well, you can go to college, you can do this, or you can come up here at the plant, work with me, and I'm gonna guarantee you'll be foreman within a year. Just bring your ass to work. And you better not make me look like a damn fool up here because you my son, and you be straight. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's what you supposed to do. You supposed to do that.
You're supposed to look
You
out
know?
for your own people.
That's it, right.
Because let me tell you, a lot of people that is in positions, they didn't get it because of hard work, and they didn't get it because they were pulling themselves up by their bootstraps. They got it through networking.
Networking on the right people.
That myth is given to us.
Oh, Adric, thank you. Appreciate that.
I had to learn that, brother, the hard way. I went to corporate world straight out of the labor industry
Right.
and went to the corporate world, and I was taught that by my family too, bro. Right? They was like, you go in there, you do your job, you come to work early, you're the last one to leave, you do your job, don't make no fuss, stay there and do your damn job. Eventually, you're gonna come up, this and that. What they failed to realize was in corporate America as we have now, it is networking. And you could be doing your job too damn good. The union boys told me one time, said, man, you're killing the job. And that's when I knew it wasn't all about efficiency. It was about milking the clock. And it was about
Mhm.
who was going to allow us to milk the clock and steal as much money as possible. And if you are not down with that at any point in that area, if you're not networking in that point, your ass will be replaced
Oh,
very
yep.
fast.
Which brings up a very interesting point right there. I remember something Patrice O'Neill said. Even though he was half joking, half serious, he said, "Racism will be over when black mediocrity is able to ascend, same way white mediocrity is." Because with us, it's like with y'all in particular, but other black folks in other parts of the world, they try to hold you to a absurd standard and whatnot. They expect you to be the excellent to a higher level than the others, or you're just subpar. which is
Well,
unfair.
you know, well, you're supposed to strive for excellence, where
That's
you
true.
you separate yourself from the pack and you make yourself valuable, but also at the same point
Mhm.
they will use the hard work, like plenty of times where you will have individuals, they got a job they unqualified for, but they put in a supervisory position, but they know you're the workhorse and they
Mhm.
rely upon you. They like let you come a minute late and they want to chew your ass apart. But the person that's habitually late all the time, they don't say nothing to, and they're not as their work performance is not up to your level,
Yeah.
but because you're
Right.
so valuable to make them look good and make their job easier, they're gonna, lean on you very hard. I've seen that shit plenty of times.
Also, there are people who understand and the whole thing about like office work politics, so they know who they gotta who to remain on whose good side they have to remain in order to get ahead, even
Oh,
if there's his.
and today's show has been brought to you by Johnny Walker Black.
Gotta keep it black.
JW.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
they know.
yo, you remember? I gotta use TV references here. I know that's me. But if y'all remember Fresh Prince of Bel Air, there was a
I'll
certain
call you.
there was a certain professor that
Beezy ain't trick.
Will. Yeah, easy later, Adric. Uh, but I remember Will talked about he had to deal with working hard to get where he needed to be in school when they were in college. Him and Carlton. Carlton, he was able to get ahead simply by doing one thing. He baked. He would get on the professor's good side by baking them cupcakes, muffins, whatever they liked.
Called grease. Grease.
Yep.
Grease. Blossom grease.
It was type of greasing. It was type of greasing. That's how he was able to get ahead. At one point, I
And
remember at one point he just said like, if I can't get ahead with this paper, I can always bake something and get them, to reconsider. Appeal to their
what I,
sweet tooth.
what I was saying earlier to what Lewis was saying as well, and I think everybody has had that, at least if you've been in, corporate America or, corporate period, you eventually see this. I saw it. And I don't like people getting anxiety with it. And shout out to Adrian. I would be like this. I'm like, when I learn from it, I teach people who haven't been through it. Not to say that that's what's going to happen to you when you get in corporate America or you arise the ranks, or when you going up, and this is possibly that. Yeah, it could possibly happen. I'm not saying go all the way to the left with it. What I'm saying is be aware. Be aware. You know what I'm saying? Don't take no sides necessarily. Keep doing your job. Be excellent. Like Lewis was saying, we have to be excellent. We have to strive for that. But at the same time, notice when the wind blowing is changing. And sometimes, like they was telling me at the union, you say you killing the job. You're doing too good. And that's because that guy who was not thinking on efficiency, like you were saying, brother, they put him in charge. They're doing that on purpose. That's not an accident. They know he ain't shit, don't know shit, but he's gonna work the hell out of you. He knows, but he can be controlled. So you may not be able to be controlled. You're efficient. You might take my job as foreman. So I have to keep you in that way in order to stop you from being able to take my job. Because they ever seen how efficient you were, then why would they need me?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well said. Because basically when they see you, what do they first see? What's the first thing they see? You shattered. You were a threat.
Threat, man. I went into all white shops, Lewis, right? Number
Mhm.
white boys. I'm the only black guy. I've been from there. I've been into, man, major corporations where we're in a big call center where I'm working for Yahoo, and it's it's multicultural, it's a lot of women involved, it's corporate and espionage and all this old shit. And I've worked in there, and you know, the most craziest part about it is it wasn't the all white shop where it was, the good old boy commission, right? You know what I'm saying? What you was talking about earlier, the Mr. Charlie commission. It wasn't them that I was more like anxious about. When I got into corporate, I had to learn that a lot of the women who was given these middle management positions, they didn't care how efficient you were. If your name was on list to be fired or to be looked at and to be nitpicked, your ass better be careful because they will get rid of you with no qualm. Although Mr. Charlie might say, well, damn, we get rid of him. Like I said, he worked too hard. We're going to figure out something, keep him around. But see, in a corporate scheme, ain't no loyalty, ain't none of that. If you ain't down, I done seen them where they stealing money. They had a tuition reimbursement scam where they was giving you from our job a tuition um, bonus. So if you took a class, had a now you couldn't go to Harvard or nothing like that, but you could take like a community class or whatever, or community college class, and then they would give you for that semester. Let's just say your semester cost you like $3,000. They would give you $5,000 for this semester, right? So what they had figured out was, it worked good for a while. We were building computers. People would be able to build their own computers. We were doing Net Plus, A Plus, all this different stuff with it. Cisco, some people were getting they Sun Microsystems, the Java, all this stuff. And the lady who got in charge of it later on, I won't say any names, but the research, you'll find out she was actually in charge of the tuition reimbursement. So she had came at me and said, hey, look, you don't have to go to school. We know that you did A plus, but look, come on, we want you to do Net Plus and you can do Cisco, and you don't even have to go to school. Just give me $1,000 and I'll give you, 5,000, and you just give me 1,000 out of it. And, I'm not going to tell on you. You don't tell on me. This is what the deal is. And I'm like, man, hell no, this is a scam. I know my black ass gonna get caught up. I don't know what Mr. Charlie and Miss Ann gonna do, but I know my black ass gonna get caught up with this shit. So I'm like, hell no, mark me for death, because now they know you're not down on the take. So when you do not do that, you mark yourself for death. And a lot of times you got to get your hands dirty. It's like mafia. It's like the mob. You got to get your hands dirty too. So now you can't go and snitch on us because you guilty too. And if you don't do that, you're marked for fucking death.
Yep. Well, for the most part, from my experience, like if you work around a lot of white boys, especially if it's in an environment where it's on your knowledge and talent, brothers that come in, they don't fuck with, because they have more problems with people that don't know the certain skills, so they have to waste time and train them, or it makes their job harder. But if you come in knowing what you're doing and it doesn't impede on their performance, they don't fuck with you. Most of the time, it stems around women. Depends on what work environment you in, though. Like if you're doing if you're dealing with a labor trade or extensive real laborious activities, if you know what you're doing and you're making their job not hard, you're considered an asset.
Yeah.
But when you're in those white collar positions where it's like popularity and cliquish, yeah.
And water cooler politics and shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I had to learn not to talk about my particular political lean either way now, because I didn't know which way it would come from. And over the time, how I have been able to reevaluate my talent and know your worth, black man, know your worth, because this is why they need you. And you have to prove yourself. Yes, sir, for sure. That's anything, anybody. You're supposed to prove yourself. But when you do it, you have to make sure that you letting people know what you're valued at. Don't go in there trying to be damn activist and shit. Be a valued person of the team. After that, you feel me? You can always build. Hey man, just don't get fired. You might want to leave. Well, shit, all that what you did at that job, now you can use that as a stepping stone to your next job. Well, I did this right here. I was promoted to this. I did this. These are my responsibilities. Even if you wind up getting into the front office where you at, it's always a competitor that's willing to go in there, especially can get a guy that was their best efficient guy come pick you up, but you got to put yourself out there. So the excellence, we have to keep that up there, and that's what I was saying earlier. We don't want to get anxious. You make people think, oh man, there's no hope. No, it is. Good, hardworking black men is always in rare form. We always doing our thing, and we always need it. Saying
Hmm.
Of course, of course.
You got to pick your battles, however, and you got to know who to talk to, who to interact with, and you want to fly under the radar as much as possible. But unfortunately, everybody's got their misconceptions.
Well,
And
what they're doing now in work environments, one of the tactics, people that stay to themselves and just do their jobs, they run to HR and say you're not being sociable. That's one of the things they're using against you now.
oh yeah, once you get in there, and before you even get in, there's a personality test, and this has been done for years. And I talked to a good friend of mine. She was trying to get a job and she kept failing. Now she had already did this work before for years, in-house, remote, all this stuff, right? And she kept failing the entry test. And she knew all the coursework, but she kept failing. And I was like, man, what are you answering on this test? So she was like, I'll put out there like a question. I said, okay, if they ask you, if you see somebody at the job and they're stealing, right? I'll just make it real simple as possible to say that you see something. Now, this is a question on the test. Say, okay, do you going back and should you tell your manager that the person is stealing? So they would say, they would say strongly disagree, um, agree, disagree, neutral, agree, or strongly agree. So you
That's the
would think in your
integrity question.
right, and you would think in your mind like, well, the right answer that they want from me is, well, if I see someone stealing or whatever, I would strongly agree to say that's wrong, and I would report it up to the thing. So what I answered this and I got it wrong a couple of times, and my partner said, "Man, you're answering it wrong." He says, "Go back in there and then everything, do the same thing you're doing, but instead of putting strongly, put agree or disagree and see how it works out for you." I go in there, do that, pass the test flying colors. And he said the reason why that is because that personality test is trying to see if you're strongly anything. Because if you're strong, it means you're emotional. So you might get emotional in the job because you're emotionally tied, strongly this, strongly that. You put agree and disagree only, and that is where you will pass because they don't want a strongly emotional person. They want to weed them out before they even give you the job. And I said, damn, I didn't understand that. And I told people that, and every time I tell them, just go agree, disagree, they pass. When they do that personality test, always remember that. Agree and
Well,
disagree.
and part of the thing too is I can't discriminate against you because of your color, but I could discriminate against you because of your personality, because I could say you're not a good fit or not you're the test will indicate that you won't be a good team player.
Exactly. Before you even get the job, right? So
Yep.
before you even get in there, they getting rid of you.
Hmm. Just like back in the day, I could discriminate against you if you got a criminal record, but I can't discriminate against you outright if you're black.
Right. But the criminal record is in there as part of what they can discriminate. against you, right? And the union attempted to fix that, and it has to a certain extent. Okay, everybody doesn't get the benefit off of it, but I have seen it myself. I had a guy that came into our class, and the lady was basically our orientation, and we're all apprentices for plumbing, and it was local 68, and we went in there, and the guy, he walked in, he was late, and he was like, "Oh," she told him how much we were gonna be making. You know, first year apprentice, I think was like 1750 at that time, which was like probably like 2000 and I don't know, like 2008 or some shit. And you know, first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, you make $25 an hour as a journeyman. And so he was like, "Oh man, I'm gonna walk out because I just got out of TDC and I know y'all ain't gonna hire me because of my criminal record." The woman stopped the class to us and was like, "No, come here, sit in the front. We are here for you. As long as she's like, what was your crime? Did you I think he had a robbery. It was a residential robbery. He served his time, right? Or whatever, trying to get a job, rehab, you know." And she said, "Well, we do commercial buildings, and you may not be able to be covered under our insurance of residential plumbing, but you can work for commercial. Have you robbed a business?" He said, "Nah." She said, "All right, well, sit down. You're good." I was like, damn, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Give a man a chance to come back, man, you know, redeem himself. You know what I mean?
Are black men allowed to have that chance of redemption? Let's not forget the level of demonization that we're all subjected to. Various levels of demonization.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was great because I was like, look at that, man. You know what I'm saying? I would have thought for sure she would have walked him out the door right then as well. He was getting up, getting out, and she no. And I said, well, okay, now that part of the union where it's actually working for the people, and I always tell people, man, look, go to the union. Go to the union. You people might have bad experience with the union, and that happens, man. But go to the union and try to get you a trade. They will pay for your trade. You pay your dues, they'll get you in there, man. Don't, you know, stop, you know, smoking weed, lay off the damn weed, you know, and pass your drug test and go up in there. And man, you know, they're gonna get sick of seeing your ass in there. Eventually, they'll say, man, shit, you know, they're gonna give you a job, man. And you know, it just takes a little time, but hey, brother, you know, I'm all with the trades, all that. If you're an entrepreneur, cool too. You know what I mean? But just remember, just because you working for yourself don't mean you still don't work for other people. Your clients is now your boss. And they speak above work more than anyone else because of word of mouth and the clients is commercial. Every time you get a good client, that's a commercial for your business. You still are beholden to them, so you still have a boss, but you're your own boss, but your clients are your boss. You
Hold
take care
on.
of your clients.
Go ahead.
Yeah, man, lay off the weed for a couple months, man. I had the union guy tell me, I flunked the drug test. I was smoke some weed. I ain't gonna lie. I thought I was clean, man. I had smoked. He said, man, he called me in office, president of the union. He said, you didn't study for your drug test. And I laughed. How can you study for a drug test? He's like, man, yeah, you didn't study for that one, but go ahead and study for this one. And here's the next job that we're gonna give you. Study for your drug test, man, and go and get your damn job. You know, you pop a weed. I told you, the union is more lax. You know, the union, if you get a good one, more lax, man. You know, they know what you're dealing with. And you know, it was some Polish brothers. It's funny you was talking about the Polak. There's some Polish brothers that was running it, some skis. You know the skis. And you know, there's a couple skis in there running the shit, you know what I'm saying? They have little hats and have, you know, Polish. And you know, they mess with us a little more than let's just say the good old boys. And they understand and they know you're a hard worker. They'll put you on, you know what I'm saying? But once you you know show them that you're not a good worker or that you're consistently late or you don't want to pay your union dues, your ass gonna be fired. So you have to be excellent, to your point.
Go ahead. I'm trying to find a clip. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that, with the union, for as anybody that, don't get down, you know what I'm saying? People ain't hiring in your area. Go to your local union. Go to your local. You know what I mean? Go ahead and fill out the application. They have to let you fill out the application. Sometimes they got open orientation. Sometimes they require you to have financial aid. Sometimes they'll pay for your financial aid and then train you on the job.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, that helps out a lot, man. Brothers have to know these type of options, and you know, that's why I always here to let people know I've been through it. So I'm gonna tell y'all, some different avenues that you can take.
Get your CDL. I urge personally like 6 brothers, and they got their CDL, and they're making good money right now.
Transport is motherfucker, man. Logistics. You'll
And
never
they,
run out of.
and they got their TWIC cards and everything.
Yeah, that way you can get access to the port. They got so many jobs coming out the port. My partner just got a job. He's running a flatbed, and he's running $700 load to New Orleans every morning. That's all he do. One load a day. Run it to New Orleans, come back, be back by 3 o'clock every day.
I'm about to get my TWIC card just to have it.
Man, and you pass all your background, you got to pass the Homeland Security check, right? You got to pass a lot of that stuff, and it's an extra thing in your repertoire, and you can get jobs that's port related that other people can't get.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll actually pay for it. In Texas, we have Texas Workforce Commission. We don't have an unemployment office. It's
Uh-huh.
Texas Workforce Commission. So you actually go in there, you tell them what your situation is, and if you continue to work with your counselor, they will actually pay for your TWIC card here in Texas.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
It's all about making yourself valuable. Like right now is the perfect time to look into many different avenues to gain resources and things to make yourself valuable out there.
absolutely.
Have a plan B and C.
Oh yeah, man,
Don't forget
contingency,
D,
man.
E, and F as well while we're at it.
Oh yeah, contingency is a must, man. And the networking can't be understated, man. You got people that's working in industries. Reach out to them. You never know, man. I've got my best jobs, and I've been applying for name it, and guess what? The best jobs I was trying to get. Guess when I normally get it? Not because I put my resume out. It's because somebody got fired because they didn't come to work, or they pop hot for dope, or the police had stopped them on the truck and they was drunk
Mhm.
or had a bitch in the truck or something, and they got fired that day.
A
They've been
lot more
working there
time.
for 2 years. And then they said, well, we need you right now. We need you right now. And because someone up at the job called me and said, hey, they just fired such and such. Bring your ass up here right now. They're gonna have to fill that spot. So sometimes that networking is more than anything.
You know how else networking is good? Like say you're involved in like blue collars. Say you're a carpenter and you know some people are good plumbers and whatnot. They helped you out. You have helped them out before. They've helped you out before. And say you get hired to do a little carpentry on a certain construction site, and you notice who's doing the plumbing and shit, and you're like looking at that and like, hey yo, and then you go talk to the foreman and you say, hey, who's doing the plumbing and whatnot? There's a partner of mine who does some great plumbing work. He's done good work for me. We worked together on a couple of construction sites. He passed his business card. Say, give him a holler. Tell him I called. You recommend that person, and vouch for him, just as he would vouch for you.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? I mean, you gotta make sure they're gonna do the damn job, because if they don't, now it's gonna make you look bad. But
Yeah. I
hopefully
mean,
that's your
yeah.
boy, he did for you before. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You would do it. What I noticed with that, I've done that, right? And I've had times where I've done it and put my neck out there and got some certain problematic people. Of course, they've been good the whole other time. But when I refer you to this big contract, you somehow get these people mad at you, and I'm the one that referred you. So now I gotta hear the shit, or I gotta clean up your mess in the process. So what I noticed as well, with what you're saying, is also I just started doing a lot of jobs myself. So I do plumbing, I do framing, I do electrical, I do landscaping, maintenance, lockouts, evictions, security. I do so much painting. I paint. So then we do the handicap spots and the fire lane and all this other different type of stuff. So I could do all of this, but since I'm already contracted to do, let's say 2 of these jobs, maybe 3 that I ain't got, there's another 7 or 8 jobs. Well, I could go out there and do it all myself, but then the old man gonna be like, "But damn, you doing everything, man. Come on, we gotta let somebody else get some money." So even if I would do it, I would say, "Hey, man, since I'm doing so many jobs, they're gonna try to get a discount with me." So I would bring in my brother, and sometimes they might not know as much as I do with the shit. But I'm like, "Man, come on. I just need you to come in here and tell them this is the price, put this invoice in front of him, and now I'm gonna come out there and help you do the job. I'm gonna show you how to do everything, but I need you to come and put your face in front because if you don't, they're gonna try to get a discount for me." And I would bring them in that way. And then we're still getting the job. We're doing it, but you're the damn head honcho. So now you're the top dog. And I would always be like, yeah, you know what? Sometimes I want somebody else to be the top dog on certain shit. And I'll take the worker role, so to speak, and not the referral fee. You know what I'm saying? And then certain times where it's the opposite. So we bringing in other brothers. He gets a chance to put a job in his portfolio, get a good condition with your client. And you're absolutely correct, brother. Bringing in brothers of the trade and getting them in there. Yeah, they ain't got no plumbing. We got a plumbing problem. Point it out and say, "I got a guy right now. He's awesome. And get your ass up here right now." And before anyone else can get called or go, before they can go out there and find somebody else, your guy's already at the front door. And now they got to at least give him a good old college try before they go get anyone else because he's already there. Half of it's just being in the right place at the right time.
Yep, luck, and what's the term? Right place at the right time.
Yeah, right place at the right time.
Yeah, and someone told you where to be at that time and what place. Get your ass up here now. I got a job for you. And that person that shows up, he got his truck, he got his tools. When that guy sees him, he's like, "This your guy?" Like, "That's my guy." When you put that stamp on him and you do good work, it bleeds off on your brother. And they're gonna give him that job. Now it's his to fuck up, but you give him that job. And I think we need a lot of that. Our other counterparts, different cultures and races, they do, consistently. And that's why they're able to build these type of communities and these type of relationships to where people don't want to shop with nobody but them. And we as men have to combat that by being excellent and then providing a service and then being able to put our other brothers in position to be able to get that and then having them train and do their damn job. That is important because if we just say, well, we're going to relegate all the work to the lower grade, people that's going to do the work for a lower price. Well, who's going to learn how to do the work later when your kids come up? You give all the jobs to some other people. You ain't training your kids or training your people. Well, you get what you deserve. That's why I hire brothers as much as possible. And I do not, go to the easy, go pick up some guys from Home Depot route. And then people talk about me and say, "Man, that's not a capitalist way to look at it." And they call me whatever they want to call me. But I know my brother's sitting at home. He lost his job. His girl tripping with him. He needs the money. He a good worker. I'm gonna pick him up before I go to Home Depot and pick up somebody. I don't give a damn if I gotta pay them $20 more and buy him lunch and go pick him up.
And
he's
good for it. And he's good for it. Because you get the people from Home Depot, they're willing to work for less and everything. But the thing is you don't know these guys, you don't trust them, you don't know where they've been, you don't know what's going on with them.
Facts.
And I don't fault you for that. I don't fault you for that.
You bring that person you don't know. He may not speak the proper language, whatever. and you don't watch him, you go and leave and get everybody lunch. He goes in the back room, the customer's gone and steals something. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And he gone. You don't know where he live at. You don't know. All you know is you met him at Home Depot. Don't even know the man's real name. And now you lose a big contract because you wanted to go and get some cheap work. You know what I mean? And
Always working on the cheap will get your ass. I remember some shit like that happened. I remember my dad had to deal with some crap like that. But it is what the hell it is. And shit went sideways.
Lewis, you know what's funny?
Yo,
Mr. Charlie told me himself. And what's crazy is he offered me way more money than he was paying the Spanish guys, right? And I was like, man, he got a big cruise. And now I'm like, why does he want to, give me more money? I mean, I know I'm a great worker, but I mean, he had a group of some, Home Depot special guys, that's going to do it for the low price and this and that. Wind up happening was they robbed him. Now, he's looking for us to rob him, but you over here, Mr. Charlie, trying to get this cheap ass work. You don't know who these folks is. They didn't came out there, man. They stole his tractor. He had 2 ATVs. Man, they cleaned him out. Stole his guns. He had some guns in the garage. Cleaned his ass out.
get the fuck out of here.
Man, they cleaned him out so bad, bro. And we was out there actually putting up some staging for the dude. He was putting a cell phone tower on his property. And we was doing some concrete work over there. He had the Spanish guys doing it at first, but they ran off with his stuff. We had to finish the job. And he was like, man, you want the job, you can have it. And he was like, man, what happened to the other guys? He said, man, they robbed me, man. I said, man, that's what you get. You go out there and go get all this cheap work. You think you're getting over, but you still had to come back to the brothers and go and pay us that money because he was like, well, shit, at least I know you know what I'm saying, you ain't gonna rob me. I'm like, well, you probably thought I was. But now here we are having this conversation, and I thought it was quite ironic.
Yeah, it is what it is. Excuse me. Conversing with somebody else. Just found out I got a little nephew. But anyway, yeah, but you got to know that's the whole thing about. There's no honor. You know what I'm saying? You got to make sure you're dealing with people who are reputable and you have a good relationship. You just pick up some guy off the street, you're taking a chance. And more often than not, it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. So, by the way, Shattered, I just got to say something just for comedic relief. Why do you got to take shots at a man up in Baltimore like that? He ain't no slumlord. We say, Mr. Charlie, Mr. Charlie.
Look, Charles gonna pop up in the damn chat as soon as you say that.
he ain't gonna pop up. He gonna come in styling and profiling, going woo with a cigar in his hand, and he's gonna have Tiffany. That's his nightstick. Look at you like, what the fuck you just say, man? Now, Shattered, you can't be coming at me like that. Brother Charles don't play that.
Yeah, that's
you might get you might catch a double leg for that.
You know what's crazy is that me and Lewis was actually talking about this, right? And I got yelled at for trying to do this. And Lewis was like, I said, man, Lewis, am I doing something wrong? Like, tell me, bro. Like, I mean, I'm trying to be a good capitalist, right? And still take care of my people in the process, take care of myself. And I asked Lewis, I said, man, am I wrong for not going and pick up the illegal workers? I mean, didn't those people, Mr. Charlie, them use our labor, and didn't pay us right and shit? And hey, is it not our duty to at least try to reach out to our people first? And Lewis said, hell yeah, man. I'm like, man, because I was like, man, I'm getting heat. Like, man, yeah, just go pick up the Mexicans. That's what they keep telling me, you need to make more money, go pick up the Mexicans. Like, I'm like, well, damn, man, shit, I want to let my brother, he needs some money. Oh, no, man, just go pick up the Mexicans. And I was like, man, I'm not trying to do that. They're like, man, well, you fucking up. You don't want to be rich because you need to do this.
You got to understand. No, you ain't doing it wrong, man. You being smart about it because let's face it, when you hire those guys for cheap, you get what you pay for. You know what I'm saying? You go on the cheap, you get cheap shit. You want the good shit, you got to be willing to make good money. You got to be willing to pay a good dollar for it. Because at the end of the day, it's sort of an investment because they do good quality work. That means less likely you have to worry about maintenance and shit like that. Because people are thinking about the immediate payoff, not the long-term payoff. That's the problem with the capitalism we're dealing with. It's about maximizing profits immediately. Everybody's very focused on the immediate benefits, not the long-term payoff. That's why, like, for example, if I'm gonna purchase something, I gotta make sure it's gonna last me something good. It's gonna be good. But then again, that triangle you have efficiency, cost, and time.
Time, yeah.
And you can't have it all three ways unless you can find a way to make it all three ways. That means you got to go against the grain.
Right. You can't have it cheap and then was it cheap in quality? Right.
Efficient and yeah, you can't have good quality and you can't have it efficiently, timely, and costly.
Right.
Cost effectively. That's the problem.
Right.
You can only be on one side of that triangle. You can only be at one angle of that triangle.
Louis, what's your idea on that, man?
What? Hiring Mexicans?
Well, I mean, just
illegals in general.
Like the capitalism, should we just we're gonna just go out and just get the cheapest workers we possibly can get to get this job done, or should we at least give a brother who might need the job a little more than, let's say, the Home Depot guys, at least a good college shot before we go run over there and just go get these laborers?
Well, one, it depends on the situation. Certain situations doesn't, dictate, giving a brother a chance. It's about getting the job done and who's most efficient at it.
And maintaining the status quo sorts.
Yeah. Because a lot of times good work ain't cheap and cheap work ain't good. So
right there.
And sometimes
you said the right name.
And sometimes situations doesn't provide someone the opportunity to learn on the job. You need the people that's competent in it.
Of course. I think a multifaceted effect that goes along with that as well, because we can still do that, right? When you have multiple contracts, let's say, okay, well, I'm the big dog, you know what I'm saying? I'm the colonel of this fucking operation, and I got my sergeant major over here, I got my first sergeant, my master sergeant. Well, now I can put them in control of this said worker pool, be that who it may. And I can't be in 4 work sites at the same time in the same day. So I could still put my brother in charge of that. And even if we had, let's just say, some workers that was some cheap workers or whatever, but my bro is in charge, he's a project manager. Well, he still gets a job, but he's just in charge of making sure everything works properly. We have our work labor capped off, and we still can be benefited from our business. And also, I still let my brother get a job, and now he's in a empowerment position where he's the boss. So you're right, bro. I didn't think about it like that, but yeah, I can see that. You see anything, man, new about this GTA? I'm still on this GTA shit. It's so segue. This GTA shit, I'm seeing now that people are saying, well, we'll just go ahead and pay the $100, man. Have you seen that shit? I think on 4chan, they was like, well, just bring it out already. We'll just pay the $100.
I haven't seen that, but GTA is probably going to be one of them games that is worth it.
I mean, how many years since 2013, since GTA 5 came out?
Well, Rockstar has
12
a
years.
track record.
It's been 12 years since the GTA 5 came out.
They got a proven track record. Like right now, I'm playing Monster Hunter. That's what I'm currently playing.
I saw that Monster Hunter Is it multiplayer or is it straight single?
Multiplayer.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey yo, y'all have to excuse me, but I gotta get going and prepare for later today. So I'm gonna catch y'all on the other side. Y'all have a good, blessed evening. Have a blessed week as well.
What's up, D Scott? How you
Salute D
doing?
Scott. All right, I'll catch y'all later. Peace.
Peace. I agree, man. Yeah, I saw that Monster Hunter. I seen a couple of new ones. I don't know how much it costs on Steam, but there are a lot of games that are real good games that are, under $60 right now. GTA being for the amount of time that they polish these games, especially with Rockstar. Hey, I ain't ever paid, $100 for a basic game. I got GTA Collector's Edition, which was like 150. It came with a lot of stuff, big ass box, all kind of shit. And I felt like, I pre-ordered it and I paid it off and stuff. And that was during the days of the 12 o'clock release. Remember everybody used to go up to the place, 12 o'clock, they got the line out there and shit. I've done that multiple times. But they're gonna go ahead and bring up GTA 6 from what I'm looking at. Hey man, if it's anything better than GTA 5, it'd be worth $100. I mean, factoring in inflation and the amount of years, and shit, what 2013, and they're still playing it now on multiple different generations of consoles. You can imagine GTA 6 is going to do the same thing. I'm with it, man. I would pay $100 for a physical copy of it. As far as the digital copies, like we were saying earlier, the other stream, we're talking about how maybe $80 for the digital copy. I'm not I'm not sure. If that would be fair, but I mean, you're talking about a game that's probably going to be what 80 gigabytes, maybe
Yeah,
patched, maybe 100 gigs, right?
yeah.
Probably more than that at this point with all those HD and HDR graphics. You can get that shit on Series X or PS5 or these high level PCs. I don't know how the vanilla game is gonna go, but I mean, I last time I checked, GTA 5 itself on Xbox One, last time it was well over 70 gigabytes the last time I got an update. So I can imagine it could possibly be 200 gigabytes for GTA 6 or more.
If it's gonna be a full open world, yeah, it's gonna be. Oh my god, a lot. That thing is gonna hold up a lot of space.
Yeah, man. I think remember when they had first made it, you had the cell phone, right? You can go on the internet, you could go in your house, you could watch the TV shows. It was like kind of making it an organic experience, like as if you were really in the game. It's kind of immersing you in it. And that's what they were doing on Xbox 360 and PS3. So now we can look at now and just say, well, GTA 6, right? I've seen some of the stuff where they got like the equivalent of TikTok and you can get on your phone and watch these videos. I'm sure they're going to integrate that into the missions. I just can't wait to see that. And they're like, oh man, but they're like South Park. So, Rockstar always has a way of, making fun of everybody. You know what I mean? And like South Park does, right? And it's equal opportunity. You know what I mean? And I think that they said, well, they threw some DI, they threw a female character in there, and people are like, oh, I don't like. Hey, let the story go. The female character might be a great character, and you know how it is. You can always select one, two, three characters. I'm sure you can get some more characters in there. I'm not against them having a female protagonist in the situation as long as it's written good and it's a great game, I'll reserve my judgment until I play it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, well, I you have these other studios thinking they could do what the big studios do, where demanding these these high prices for a subpar game and material, like content. So, and now a lot of these companies, they're just getting straight up greedy, fucking the gamers over. So, like right now, I have no sympathy for what's happening. Like I said, I got enough games to hold me a lifetime, and honestly, I really don't got the time to do the gaming that I want to. But hold on.
But the free market should take care of
Dictate.
those
But
overpriced games, right?
you have these fanboys out here, like like that Nintendo situation. You got Nintendo fanboys that's going to support Nintendo no matter what.
Hey, I used to be one, bro. I used to be one. I feel you. You know, I got love for Nintendo, Shigeru Miyamoto, what they did with Metroid, Samus Aran. I love that as an RPG, even as Zelda, right? Of course, everybody came up off the Mario and it's countless others, but these are the first party Nintendo deals where I was saying that until Miyamoto dies, they won't ever give that up. But you know, those games were classics. And I still got love for that. And if I want to go and buy, and that's why I said, well, why you it was like, man, why are you buying the GameCube? And they got PS2 and they got Xbox. I said, man, I buy all three of them. I never wanted to be a fanboy like that. Super Smash Brothers was always my shit. I love Super Smash Brothers. And I played it even, from back in Nintendo 64 days all the way up into GameCube and everywhere else. But I always said to myself, the games is where you go. So the reason you have a first party game is so that you force people to buy that console to play that game.
Well,
And
did
by
you hear
all
the controversy?
about the multi-platform stuff.
Well, rumor is that the next Xbox is going to be half PC, half console, and it will play Steam. Yo, what's up, Ray Hama? How you doing, good brother? And what's going to happen is the speculation. If you put Steam on your Xbox, right,
Right.
I can play the PlayStation games that's on Steam.
Technically, yes. I'm sure that the Steam applet that they'll be using with Xbox will be DRM protected to a certain extent with Sony exclusives. Um, and there will be a money thing attached to that. The Steam box or just having it, basically this you're gonna have right, Steam box, Xbox. And that's basically what Xbox is now. I mean, it is a PC. Hell, PS5 is. I mean, it is a PC.
Yeah, it's
So,
a PC in a closed environment.
yeah. I mean, when they brought out Xbox One originally, it was Windows 8. They had a version of Windows 8 on the box. And that's why it looked like it did, the dashboard. And they tried to make Windows 8 look exactly like the dashboard of Xbox. And they tried that with Windows Phone. They attempted to be able to coin the market that way. It didn't work out so good for them. But if they were to make a Steam box, I would say the only way for Microsoft to really make a dent with PlayStation, they would have to give up Halo and let people play, let Steam go on PlayStation. It had to be just like what Trump is saying, we're going to tariff where we're going to tariff, whatever you tariff, and I'm going to tariff. Right? So if we're going to let you play Halo on PlayStation, then you're going to have to let us play God of War on Xbox. That's the tariff, right? So let's see if that happens.
Well, Halo is coming to PlayStation and Gears.
I've heard it. I would like to see it.
No,
I'm not saying
it's happening because basically Microsoft is a third party publisher now. They're not a
Yep.
console maker. They're a
That's
third
right.
party publisher.
Yeah, they are. And that's what Sega was relegated to do. And their Sega stuff, a lot of the stuff that Sega and their developers have made strides, with 2K. Remember with 2K? I mean, look at what they've done with that. So them going over, when they got out of Dreamcast, right? They were like, we're not making consoles anymore. Sega still found um Sega still found a marketplace to be able to sell their games on the newer consoles. Said, well, we're just not going to even make consoles anymore. Let's just get the good developers to make a good game and then license it to the two biggest ones, which was obviously Sony and Microsoft. And it was a great idea. Microsoft not
Well,
doing hardware anymore. Maybe that's a good deal for them to
well,
make it.
they got Yakuza, which is for the mature line, is the Japanese version of GTA.
Right.
And they got Sonic, which is timeless with nostalgia and is kid friendly.
I think they still own 2K in the subsidiary, so they still get money off 2K, right?
I think 2K is separate now.
Did they buy themselves out? Because I remember when at first they had the exclusive deal with Sega. I don't know what they've done since then. They made so much money, but I remember them. They would have that Sega thing on there, but I'm not sure who owns it now. I have to look that up. But hey, man, Microsoft does it. If you're saying that they're going to bring Halo to PlayStation, then all bets are off.
Well, do you got a PlayStation?
I actually got a PS4. I gotta fix the damn power button on it. But yeah,
Well,
actually,
if you go to the PlayStation Store, the number one game in PlayStation Store is Indiana Jones,
what?
and that's Microsoft. Yes,
You
their
kidding me
top
right now?
game selling on PlayStation Store is fucking Indiana Jones.
I never even knew Indiana Jones had a new game out that was worth buying.
Yes, and it's from Microsoft.
That's surprising. Okay, well, I didn't know that, man. That would go more to your deal with saying that Halo
Because
would.
Microsoft wants to get out of the console market. They said they're not in the console war. They
Well,
want to be every
they can't be
micro
Sony and Hard. They can't beat them.
Microsoft want Game Pass to be everywhere. They want it
That's
to be
what.
on Nintendo. They wanted to be on PlayStation. They want it to be on your TV. You get a TV with the built-in apps. All you got to do is buy a freaking controller and you play the game. You got Game Pass on the computer. Because look, what they own, like what, 30 some studios? They don't need to make consoles no more. All they got to do is dedicate their money to producing top quality games and put them out there, and they'll make the money off of the publishing.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, when they're starting to try to go up on these AAAs to $60 and $100, makes sense, huh?
Yeah, and plus you're spending the money for Xbox Live, so that's guaranteed money being generated.
Yeah, what's it like $12 a month now?
Yeah, Game Pass, and they got
EA
different
Play.
tiers, so that's
Oh,
that's guaranteed money just flowing in.
Epic Games and EA Play are doing the same model. Steam obviously has way more titles because they are the PC live, so they definitely have way more titles. And if they do open up that Steam, like you're saying, and put the Steam box on Xbox and PlayStation, I think it helps the gamers out totally. Because I'm not a fanboy like that. You know, if all games were available on all consoles, you know, as long as they all look the same, who cares what you're playing it on? You might like the controller for this, or you might like this dashboard, or you like PSN Network more than Xbox Live or Steam. But if the game is the same game and you could play a guy on Call of Duty that was in PlayStation Network and you were on Xbox Live and the guys on PC and you all could shoot your bullets and everybody could play on the same server happily. I wouldn't have a problem with that because that's the free market of gaming.
Well, look at it. Call of Duty's on multi platforms.
Even mobile at this point.
I could be on my PC and play against people on PlayStation and Xbox. It's the publishers that's dictating it. So those days are over where you're going to have your exclusives like your Spider-Man or whatever, and Microsoft going to have Halo and Gears and Halo is going to multi-plat because it's people that strictly only own a PlayStation and they want to get those people to spend their money too on their games.
Yeah. And they've got the most consoles that are out there. So to deny your publishing to be able to get to those consoles, if we're not in the game of making hardware anymore, to not be able to make those games available for that console, it's a losing proposition. It just is.
Yeah.
I remember that when Nintendo GameCube came out, they had that small mini DVD, which I
Uh-huh.
think time was what I think it was like it may have been like 1.5 gigabytes. And the average PlayStation disc was like 4.7 or 5. Same way with Xbox. And people would say, oh man, it's smaller gigabytes, less less quality of the videos. But Super Smash Brothers played great. Metroid Prime played wonderfully. 3D, they brought it from 2D over to 3D. Thought it was great. Because why did you buy the GameCube? It's because of the game. So if you had that game somewhere else, I would buy it somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I think it's absolutely the organic way for this shit to evolve to be able to have these games in different platforms and still be able to play them. It has to go there, right, Lewis?
Yeah, of course. That's where that's the future. I think this stupid console war stuff is going to go down the drain.
I'm actually waiting on. They said Casey Hudson has came back to BioWare, and I'm wishing upon a star that they will eventually. And they did some stuff on N7 Day, um, and I've been looking forward to a proper Mass Effect, not a reboot, but a proper sequel to Mass Effect 3, which Mass Effect 4 was not that, which it was not Mass Effect 4 and Mass Effect Andromeda, and I played it, I bought it. Although the Frostbite engine did add some open world feel to it, but it just wasn't Mass Effect. There was no Shepard. It was a prequel. BioWare Montreal did what they could do. But I would like to see Casey Hudson come back and do a proper treatment for that game because that game alone, I looked at the tree of and I don't know if you played The Witcher. The Witcher's kind of good like that too. It's got like these branching storyline arcs where you can, damn near play a different version of the game. It's what adds to the replayability. We can make these different choices. Different people. People can die, or you can recruit certain people, and through your playthroughs and everything transferred. I think that with a new version of that game, it's just more like a movie. It's like a movie that you control and it's the cinematic quality is great, the music is great, the characters are fleshed out, and I think that it was like one of the RP and how Casey Hudson them did it. I didn't even understand until I looked at the BioWare actual history, and they were doing Knights of the Old Republic for Xbox, which they had a Lucas Arts deal, and Xbox did Knights of the Old Republic. And when they were trying to come out with Knights of the Old Republic 3 and do the new version of it, LucasArts did not want to give them the license to continue on with the game. So
Why?
Casey they fought them because LucasArts was really about at that time, this before Disney now. So they were fighting George Lucas on retcon stuff, and like he was real careful about how he wanted to operate these stories and these characters that he had built for so long. So he was like, Casey's going a different way. He he's built Knights of the Republic, and we got part one, part two, and they said, well, we're not gonna do that. And basically, BioWare was like, all right, well, and a straight up middle finger f you to LucasArts, and basically they said, well, hey, we will create a space opera that is better than Star Wars, and we will compete against you since you do not want to give us IP rights to continue the game that is so great for you. And that's how Mass Effect was created as an FU to them, because LucasArts did not want to give them the license for the next game. And look at what was created. Arguably, if they created a movie, a proper movie for Mass Effect, I mean, Jesus, it'd be great. I mean, if they actually did it, but the games alone are great. If you play 1 through 3, Andromeda, we'll just put that on the garbage room floor. We'll act like that didn't happen. But 1 through 3, and all those games, you can keep your character from each game. And every single character that's there, you could lose them, they could die. And based on the decisions that you make in the game, they could be alive or they could be dead in the second one or the third one. And when you get to the end, the endings will change slightly based on the decisions you have made through a trilogy. So it's almost like watching a season of a show, watching these characters develop and this and that. But instead of you just being a passive watcher, you're actually there. So, you might have played the Renegade one, you might have played the Paragon. So I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna do Paragon. Well, it might be Renegade. I'm gonna cross everybody out, or I'm gonna save this guy this time and this and that. You think, oh, that's just a superficial deal, but that may very well affect your game. And every time you play it, it's a different playthrough. And it's like, man, they don't make games like that anymore. It's just like a rail. You're carried on to the game, and that's the way it's gonna be, and that's it. And having a story that actually benefits the player. So where now once I'm done with that game, Lewis, I can go back again and play it again and never play it the same way twice. Hard to get replayability out of these newer games like that, especially when they're single player focused like a RPG in that manner. And because it's so much easier, right, to just do a free to play or do a first person shooter where we just sell loot and merge and make it free, i.e. Fortnite, or other games of that where they sell the game pass and they come out with a new game every year. I think it benefits the player. When you do a game, like you put in a good single player game, you know, you want to be able, like you said, you don't want to have to hook your console straight up to the internet. You bought that game, you can't even play it until, like what you were saying the other day about how they want these online only titles.
Yeah, I mean, oh shit, my bad. I'm in the middle of a hunt. Everything. I mean, it is going to go there, but right now, when internet becomes mainstream, like everywhere, that's when you want to see it.
When they finally get
High speed,
90,
when high speed internet is normal.
well, nowadays you can pretty much get Wi-Fi here, and I don't know how the distribution is up there. I don't know who you guys have.
Where you at? Do they got 5G?
They here, yeah, they have 5G, but the AT&T has been doing a lot of fiber work, and they have pretty much in majority of Houston have gotten pretty much all the DSLAMs that used to be with the DSL. They've replaced them with fiber nodes, and for the most part, they work pretty good. You got gigabyte speed. Comcast and Xfinity, being cable, they've upgraded their networks. But one thing about what they have done is this distributed internet connectivity. So this is a thing a lot of people might not know. In Houston, currently, if you have Xfinity, and let's say you bought it, you got your basic cable package, right? You get your internet, you get your cable TV, and they may even bundle a phone in with it or whatever. Well, your router, if you do not opt out or do not go into your router and turn it off, is a repeater. So let's say you got 20 people that's got Xfinity within a half a mile of you. Well, now all those routers communicate with each other and they put out a signal that is a signal that you can pick up as Xfinity, and you don't even have to have the service with them specifically. You could just buy a pass for a month for like $10, and you can use Xfinity wherever Xfinity is at. So I did the test from the woods of the Woodlands all the way to Galveston Bay. And within 500 feet of pretty much any populated area, you can get Xfinity internet at least 3 GB up or down Wi-Fi anywhere you go in the city of Houston.
Wow.
Literally.
And
And
who's the top provider? And where you at?
right now, it's dead heat really between Xfinity and AT&T, but AT&T has more lines and they're doing that fiber. So now AT&T is giving some great deals because they're dropping fiber everywhere to be able to compete with the wired Comcast and cable and some of the others that are 5G. Verizon has theirs. You got T-Mobile. You got a lot of these other different companies that have the 5G towers that will allow you to get 5G speed wirelessly. But right now, it's a dead heat. AT&T probably would angle out a little more now. They're catching back up with some of it because currently they're putting a lot of fiber down and they're making exclusive deals with apartments and with also townhomes and multifamily communities where they will sign a contract with AT&T to block Comcast out. So you couldn't even get Comcast. You have to get AT&T because they have an exclusive deal with them. So for that reason, AT&T and plus the amount of fiber they're putting down, they're starting to get more commercial customers, starting to get more residential customers on that. So they're really kind of beating Comcast, but they're a way bigger company than Comcast. But that's pretty much who runs it. Frontiers is got some in the country areas. Cox has some. Starlink is coming up. But in Houston, we have a lot of cable already on the ground. Starlink is good for people who might be in the country, or might be away from the provisioning zone that we would have to provision if we were going out there as your telco or your cable provider. But they're like under 1%. Most of everybody is probably about a good 60-40. I say 60 AT&T, 40 Comcast, and everybody else probably, with the rest of the 5%, let's just say 60-35, and everybody else is the 5.
Well, here honestly, the big one is T-Mobile.
Y'all still got Time Warner up there?
Yeah, we got Time Warner, Comcast. All Comcast is the major um cable provider.
Yeah, Time Warner used to have their contract here, but it reverted, and then Xfinity and Comcast took over what Time Warner had, and it was like some deal that they had a certain amount of years. And Time Warner was at first here as our cable company, and then after that, they went back up north, and then Xfinity and Comcast came down here and got their exclusive contract. And now Frontier and Cox are just now trying to catch back up with them. Verizon is using their architecture to put up their 5G towers. So they pretty much have, you know, a mini monopoly on a lot of this new tech and broadband. You're right, man. If we can get a lot more broadband, you know, people that's on like 90% of all consoles are on broadband, then it would make sense to make online only titles. But you know, I still would say, you know, the offline mode that Xbox had to do when they first brought out Xbox One, because everybody was complaining, saying, well, we need an offline mode. What if we don't have internet? We want to play the game that we bought out of GameStop day one. That, you know, I want to still play my game, and they had to capitulate and make offline option to be able to play these games. So I think there's good and bad in both of it. You know, having a patch day one patches and being able to be on the internet and have all the live updates is cool. But you know, what about the guy who just wants to play the game and doesn't want to play online or whatever? He should still be able to, you know, do that out of the box for a fucking $60. I should be able to play my game without having to be online.
Yeah, but I knew the big thing happened. I forgot what game it was where oh my god, it happened when the Xbox X first came out, the Xbox One, and it was the asshole from Ubisoft. He said that because you know they track the games by the achievements.
Right.
And he said this game only sold so many units, but so many players got achievements on it, and I'm not getting money for it. And that's when everything started going with that DRM.
Right. And because
Where if I have a game, I let's say I buy the game, and then I let you hold it, or I beat the game like, yo, here, bro, do you? You're
that's
playing the
where
game, but you
transfer
didn't pay for it.
right. And Xbox had tried to combat that by doing a license transfer. So let's just say I downloaded a game, let's just say Mortal Kombat. And I downloaded it, and this is a specific example where my buddy wants to play it.
Yeah.
So instead of me giving him my Xbox Live password so that he can download it, I can go into a license transfer to where I can transfer those licenses to his account, and therefore he'll be able to play it. They added that, and I'm sure that that was probably part and parcel to that Ubisoft guy making that fucking deal, because they were mad about that, because they're like, well, man, you know, with all these achievements, but we ain't similar to how Netflix did when they limited the amount of accounts that you could use on a regular Netflix membership, and then if there was any more than a login besides that, then you have to pay a premium for each other device that you use.
Okay.
Netflix learned it from the best. And they learned it from Microsoft and all these other guys like that Ubisoft guy, right? They learned that from them. It's like, well, hold on. You know, they looked on there and they said, well, damn, we see a lot of traffic coming from 3 and 4 different devices, different IP addresses, and we are only getting one payment for that a month. But if you really go and look at the traffic of the internet, I think they said that it was like 33% of all traffic on the internet at one point in time was Netflix streaming.
Okay.
So if you look at that, you're like, well, damn, 33% of all traffic on the internet is Netflix streaming, and we're not getting this money. So we got at least 3 people that are logged in with one person's Netflix account that we're only getting $9.99 for. Let's cut that. Let's make you have to pay this amount to get 3 screens or whatever. And now, because we got to pay this extra bandwidth to be able to serve you this data, we're going to make you pay. And not only that, we're going to go up on the price of the regular membership as well.
Yeah, and what is Netflix?
It's a marketplace. It's a studio now. At first, it wasn't a
No,
studio. Now it's a studio.
the
Right?
streaming, right?
Yeah.
I don't own the movie, right? Like you have a
Nope.
physical DVD.
Nope. You don't own it.
It's tied to you, and they have the right anytime to take it off their server, right?
Yeah. The people that don't want it on there or the license expires, you had it, you watched it, but now you don't have it anymore.
Yep. That's where the games are gonna go. When you download a game, you technically don't own it. You just have the license to use it at the moment. Let's say they shut the servers down. You can no longer get full playability out of it.
Nope, you cannot. And that helps them out because now we can make you buy it again. And we don't have to serve those servers anymore. So it saves us on bandwidth.
Mm-hmm.
It's all dollars, man. I like the fact that it is being democratized. And I do like my exclusives, brother. But hey, man, I'm with you, man. If I could play, Halo on PlayStation and play God of War on Xbox, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I'm not a fanboy like that. Well, we're gonna keep God of War. Oh no, Halo shouldn't go. Man, fuck that. The more people that play it, is more people in the atmosphere. Makes it better for all players. I
That's
mean,
what I'm
I look at it.
playing.
Look at it. What if we just had whole PlayStation squads going against Xbox squads? I
Yeah.
mean, that if you want to be fanboyish, take it to that level, right? And like, well, hey, Xbox has won the last 20 tournaments, and there's money involved with it and shit like that. I welcome the competition. Me, I would love it. I think it's a great idea.
Well, the thing was, Detroit, Blockbuster originally wanted to go digital, but their what's the people that they board members didn't want to go. They thought it was stupid.
Yeah.
And then Netflix, they went to Microsoft, like, hey, we doing this thing. And if it wasn't for the 360, you wouldn't have what you got today in Netflix.
That's right. And you're absolutely correct. Netflix was one of I think Netflix was installed on more Xboxes than some games
Yeah.
because they were giving it to you for free. Really, on the Xbox dashboard, it was already there. You just had to update it. So it was there and it was pretty cheap. And you wanted to watch the movies. I think at that time it was like $7.99 or something. Unlimited
Because
movie.
you got to remember what happened. Remember the Microsoft store where you could rent movies and watch your TV shows off of the Microsoft store?
Yeah, Zoom. I remember Zoom. They had that Zoom where it was like the MP. They were trying to make an iTunes, but it failed horribly. One
But
of the
they saw
iPod.
it that was a market for it. So instead of downloading the show, because I got it's funny, I have a ton of movies and shows that's on my Xbox 360. Like Ice Road Truckers when that came out, and Manhunters and all that shit. And you had all the TV shows, and I got a lot of Law and Order episodes. But they saw Microsoft made a lot of money off of that. And then with Netflix, they're like, hey, this is where it's going, where it's streaming. Strictly the streaming. Now, like what's funny, I because I got my PlayStation 5 on right now, but on my PlayStation 5 and my Xbox X and on my iPad and my phone, I got Amazon Prime app, I got Peacock, I got Max, I got Hulu, I got all the
Right.
apps on. So anytime I want, I could just watch a movie or whatever.
Yeah,
The
man.
convenience.
It's a great thing. The new AT&T plans, if you get auto pay, they give you HBO Go for free. And I think they got stars in that and Max, because I think HBO and Max are together now. So you can get both of them. Just with your phone subscription, and it comes pre-installed. Blockbuster, to Detroit's point, right?
Yeah, and
I
T-Mobile
tried.
give you Netflix for free.
Yeah, and that's the way that they do it. And see, Microsoft is very attuned to doing this. And Microsoft was the first person to get in trouble for this antitrust shit, the biggest antitrust case, I think, at that time, because they were providing Internet Explorer with Windows.
Yeah.
And the American government and Netscape and all the other people that were trying to make browsers was like, well, we are never able to get to where Internet Explorer is because they have an overwhelming market share of the PC marketplace, and we cannot compete against a browser that's already installed on their computer, and that is an antitrust because now it's a monopoly. So they got
Yeah,
in
because
trouble. They had money,
everybody have Windows.
right? And it came pre-installed, so they learned that, and that did not go unheard. So now you get these phones come pre-installed with these apps.
Well, you
Let's
want to
not buy
hear something funny?
what,
Where I work at, our company computers is Microsoft, right?
right?
Every time when I log in on my computer to do my emails, you know what's the number one thing that pops up? Xbox Game
What?
Pass.
Advertisement.
No, to set up your Xbox Game Pass on the computer.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's an ad, but it's not a traditional ad, and it's not a traditional pop-up. This is in your computer's operating system.
Yeah.
So it will tell you that, hey, yeah, especially Windows 10 and when upgraded Windows 10 and Windows 11, you're absolutely correct. It does it. Like, I don't like using Microsoft Store, but I do it because I can just download the program. I'm from the old school computer where we didn't have to download apps. We download the program and install it yourself. You don't go
Well,
through
you
there.
said you work corporate America, right?
Yeah.
What was the number one thing that got workers in trouble? Solitaire
Browsing the internet, solitaire, browsing the internet on
and
company
spades.
side. Spade. We had Minesweeper on our shit. We had deep freeze machines in our building. So you know what a deep freeze machine is, right?
No.
So a deep freeze machine is basically like when you go to work, it's already pre-installed with all the stuff that you would need to do. And every time you turn it off, that computer theoretically does not save anything you do. So therefore, it protects the network from, let's say, a virus or external hacker or a bad actor or somebody gets super user privileges and start to overrule the admin, put some malicious code in the network, or could be stealing credit card numbers. Wow. So
Okay.
you'll put a deep freeze. So when you turn the computer off, it factory resets itself every time it comes on.
Okay.
So you can't change it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's how our computers were set up. It was very high level because Yahoo had so much people information. When I was doing small business, making through websites, you'd be surprised. Some of these upstarts now they're big names, but who just had their shit on Yahoo Web, small business, and we would admin their stuff, and they have big lines of credit, and you know, God forbid any of this stuff ever got out or they hit the credit card numbers or something like that. It's a security thing, so they deep freeze all the machines. So only way that we could get around the deep freezing would be to either go through a VPN and then run code on top of it, or otherwise, if the admin sees what you're doing, you're gonna get in trouble for browsing the internet, you're gonna get in trouble for going to a proxy, you're gonna get in trouble for you did not use, even if you go and look something up on like Google, you couldn't even do that. You had to use the in-house deal. And Solitaire, Minesweeper, we had on there. There was like basic Windows, like it's like Windows. I think it might be Windows 2K, and that's basically all you had on there. And we would put free Civ on there. We play Civilization, and we had it all linked up with VPNs and stuff. We get in trouble about that sometimes, but you know, all the work was done. But you know, we've had people where you know they on porn, we catch them on porn on the damn thing. Walk past it now, not the admin going and seeing their records. Just walk past it.
MySpace back then. Everybody had
Oh,
fucking MySpace, and oh god.
bro, it was before I was working for them. It was still basically Yahoo. And it was AOL still was a thing. AIM Messenger, Yahoo Instant Messenger. They had like Angel Fires. Everybody had Angel Fire website, the free website thing, whatever. Then they had, you know, the Black Planet, right? You had Black Planet, College Club, Black Planet. MySpace came later, right? Yeah, MySpace.
That was
Then
one of the beginner spots for the Black Manosphere.
man, remember MySpace was a wild west. You could have all kind of CSS code,
Pal
whatever you
Talk.
go.
Remember Pal Talk?
Man, that fucking that College Club, bro, told me about that, man, back in the day, bro. And you know, College Club, Facebook borrowed College Club stuff to do their algorithm, and Zuckerberg and all that. It's College Club. And the chick, she was this sorority sister chick. She's big time college chick. I was in high school dating this chick, and she had fucking like all this shit. She's like, "You on College Club?" I'm like, "What the hell is College Club?" Like, "You on the internet? Oh, College Club. Look it up, and it's all the college bras on there." I'm like, "Man, damn, you can click on them and you can talk to them. Man, this is cool." And you know, they had it hooked up with this College Club schools and shit like that. You could choose what school you in. Who had like you know bras and shit, whatever on there. And I was like, man, damn, this is some player shit. They took that and made that into Facebook. MySpace came and knocked that shit out. Nobody wanted to fuck. Facebook existed, but MySpace was the shit. And at one point, that shit had got so fucked up. And I don't know what Tom did with the money, but they fucked MySpace up and Facebook took over the damn world.
Yeah.
Because there was a whole ecosystem of other stuff out there that our young generation, they grew up with. Can you imagine growing up with Twitter and you know, TikTok and Instagram, and I mean, Jesus, the AI and all this stuff these kids are bombarded with right on a day-to-day basis. You know, could you imagine when we were coming up if that stuff was like that? Like, you know, if you were in the computers, you were right, you was knowing you was on the cusp, but now you know everything is in your cell phone, it's in the hand, you know. Dummy can go and press a button on the phone, don't know how to turn their own motherfucking computer on and say some dumb shit or do something crazy and record it. And now it just
Yeah.
makes everybody their own personal celebrity and their own personal snitch. And they think they get some likes, but they incriminating themselves. They making it to where you unhireable. And if anybody wanted to if you do anything bad, they're gonna bring these videos back up and say, that's that motherfucker. They don't have no kind of understanding young kids. That's the problem with Generation Z. I wouldn't say that they ain't stopped. I'm just saying that they crash. That's the crash. They crashing out. They crashing out. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah. You know how many people they want to voice their opinions on Twitter for cool points, trying to get followings, like go viral.
Retweets,
Yeah.
you know, and that just makes what are more okay. You know, one month could do this. Now the next person, the step it's like over to window. Like the step gets further and further every time someone does something extremely heinous on video, on whatever, is viral, and now in order that's what these pranksters. See, a lot of these getting unalived, and a lot of these pranksters going to jail and prison now because that's what they be doing. They out
Well,
here pranking people for some likes and they going to prison, man. People stop, man. Like, man, don't be on no prank, man. If you see the prank be over, you be damn near about to die. You out here playing with these people, man. Talking about it's a prank on video. You wouldn't go to no hood and be pulling out no cameras at all. Where I'm from, you put out some cameras on the block, man. Look here, you the police. You gonna get dealt with. You
Yeah.
know, that's how it was. But now everybody got a cell phone. It's normal for everything to be recorded at all times. You know, whatever. But back then, bro, that was a big thing. These kids don't know the times of that. They record everything, you know?
Well, me, I totally like I detoxed off of social media. Like I only allow myself to go on Facebook like once a week. I check to see what my family doing, and the people like really the only people that I'm friends with on Facebook is people I was in the Marine Corps with or past coworkers and relatives. I see what they doing, I check the messages, and then I log off.
Yeah. I typically deal with business on it, family members that may be out of the country or, ain't, around, just, reach back in with them, because sometimes you might not have their number or something, you got them on Facebook, right? You can talk to them. It's person,
Oh
you know what I'm
shit.
saying? It was for like or clients, you know what I'm saying, or specifically for promotion of business, and more so that's what I was because they was up on Congress and they actually explained this. People think it's conspiracy theory, but they on Congress, they actually got in trouble. Facebook had got in trouble. The woman was up there trying to defend herself. The damn Congress lady, I forgot who it was, the Congress called lady, they was grilling her ass. And Zuckerberg sent her up there and they were like, man, we have detected that your algorithm actually is a detriment, and then it shows like we can show the more people have watch time of this thing and based on their likes, the interaction, their comments, we can see where like basically it's actually creating it. Like, the ops, he going live at the store. The ops on Facebook too, they seeing. So who do they feed the dude who talking about the ops to first? Do it surge it to me and you, Lewis, so we can watch it all? The algorithm finds the ops, and that's gonna be the first thing in their feed. Funny enough, right? They're gonna see that. Like, how did that happen? That couldn't have been an accident. And they had
Wait,
so
this was
many
recent, right? Wasn't this recent?
man, that was I think that was still under the Biden administration when they grilled her. You feel me? It's on the internet. Matter of fact, it'd be a good watch. I don't know, you might have to, I don't know, like break it up, but it'd be a good watch to watch it because she actually admits that the algorithm what, but they say, well, we didn't know how it got like that. And I'm like, no, it's like that on purpose. How else? You can have people that you be watching and you regular your family members that they be posting stuff, you don't even see it. And it's a mess, some craziness, like some stupid crazy shit or some beefing or some any kind of shit like that. That should be focused directly to the top of your feed. It'll be days old, the shit your people been just made it. But why is that coming up? 'Cause that's the feed. And they were saying that they determined that the feed was actually feeding the ops, like who would get the video of the nigga talk about the ops first. The ops. We know who the ops is. We reading all the text messages. We listening to everything on the Facebook Messenger app. We know who is who. The algorithm is learning. We're just gonna put these two people together, and how many they had to stop doing that to make everybody go on Facebook and put their real name and stop the live. You had to have a verified profile because so many unaliving was happening in Chicago alone, just
God
from
damn.
yes, man. Man, it sickens me. You feel me? Because I sat there and watched the dude, he talking crazy mad shit. I seen one dude doing that. One dude was just like live and they knowing where he at. They looking at the live. You can see him actually unalived in the live on Facebook Live. So it was like multiple of them things happen, and they call the Congress about that, and that's what that video entails, the grilling of them basically admitting that yes, the algorithm is tailored to create conflict. She admitted it and on and at the tribunal of the Congress or whatever.
Mm.
No
Yo,
bullshit. I'm gonna go because you probably think I'm bullshit. I'm telling you that video exists.
I believe you. I'm gonna look it up. But what are you doing later on today?
Man, probably gonna finish up this last piece
Brisket?
crypto stuff, man. I'm gonna do some crypto stuff and probably get up and go work out in the morning, but probably gonna be just mixing with this last piece of this crypto Python, trying to add some more code to that. But that's pretty much it for tomorrow besides the workout.
Well, we're gonna be me and Bitter Truth gonna be streaming later on tonight. Probably around 7 o'clock because Tuesday is Art New Styles night at 10 o'clock. So we're gonna be
Yeah.
on before him at 7. But I'm about to take my goofy ass to sleep. Yo, I appreciate you so much, bro. Coming on.
Man, no problem, bro. No,
And
same.
and I apologize for not like Easter week been so busy. I didn't get a chance to chop it up with you on the phone. But
Yeah, man. Bro, I know how it is. That's why I was talking about earlier. I said, man, look, bro, I like the stream. This a good build, man. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was a good move on this one because I think we got a lot of stuff. Because you know, I felt that way too, man. A lot of brothers don't have that. You know, that they get to that anxious point, like the brother said earlier, and they don't know what to do. You know, it's always something to do. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? Take your mind, like you say, you don't need to have no crazy broad living with you, doing crazy. If it ain't work for you, hey man, get that broad out of there, get you a good woman, or just use your time to get your money and get your shit up. You ain't saying don't mess with no broad, but don't try to lock in with nothing and get your money and come up and don't, you know what I'm saying, get caught in that trap, man. And
well, you
and
know
and I
what? I'm gonna have to push back a little bit
what you got?
because a lot of this problems is a lot of dudes, and I was like that when I was younger. That I'm no one if I don't have a significant other. And a lot of us, we get addicted to the flesh, so to say. And like I said earlier in the stream, maybe your solitude is your blessing. And imagine if you get to the point where you could subdue that urge and that need and you focus your energy to something more positive. Because a lot of times when you're just hunting to get laid, the pussy, and your energy is not being directed to something productive, that's how a lot of brothers get sidetracked. So if you could subdue that urge and direct that energy to something making yourself much better, you'll be a way better person. And plus, look, a lot of broads know when you're thirsty. And when they see that you could care less about it, that's when they approach you even more.
That is a fact, brother. You know, that is a fact. And you know, like I always say, you know, my thing is this: don't don't get yourself. You think about it. I tell people all the time. There are a lot of people. Sometimes they scared to invest, right? Like, well, man, I put some money in something, this and that. Ooh. I said, man, every weekend, man, you might go out and buy you a barbecue plate, or maybe you like seafood, go buy you a shrimp platter or something. It costs $20, $30, you know, and you did that for the weekend. It wasn't nothing. So let's just say we just take one of the weekends and invest some money in something that's gonna come and make some bread too. See, that's where a lot of people fail. They don't understand it. The investment, it don't start until you start doing it, and you spend more money that ain't gonna reciprocate at all. You know, once you eat that barbecue plate, that seafood plate, boy, that's over with. You
Yeah.
know, you spend some money to make some money, let your money work for you. That's how Mr. Charlie and them been doing. You feel me? They didn't, you know what I'm saying? Now they done open up the playing field. Now we able to use them same mechanism, like you said. You know, the reason of what you had said earlier in the stream, you said that, man, it's like a weight, and I'm seeing it. I don't know how or when, but it's gonna be a event because it's doing. They setting up for a good one.
Yeah, and look, and what I'm doing, and it's funny where when this thing had hit me earlier today, I was like, you know what? I got to revisit a lot of my material and what I'm going to be reading this week, going over.
Ooh, okay. Klaus Schwab, huh? Okay, yeah, I see what you.
Uh,
Yeah, I see.
I've
No,
been electing a lot of stuff. It's time that I take my goofy ass back to the laboratory
yeah,
and put
that
in that
part.
work.
Yeah, I had got a couple of those. Somebody had raided one of these Amazon FBAs, and they had a whole bunch of those books, but they wasn't like that. It was like smaller books, like 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 pamphlets, and like had all these, and it was like information that was like basically outlaw. You couldn't even know about it. Like I'm like, damn, Amazon got this stuff there. I see why they liquidated their shit. But I read some of that stuff, and I was like, man, that shit was out open how they did that. And it was like, you wouldn't think that they'd be able to do it, but everybody's on the damn tape. And Big Pharma on top of it, whoo, that's money. You can't beat them.
Yeah.
They the dealers, right? They the dealers. They the legal dealers, right? I'm gonna
So
sell you something to fix your problem, not to cure it, but
yeah,
just until you need to peel again, and we charge you again. And the pill prices don't go lower, they go higher. God forbid you ever get addicted to the shit. That's the best racket in the world, man. They in charge of this, man. I read some of that stuff, and I said, man, I can't believe we couldn't even say anything. Chaos stopped me. I had a video where I was going back point by point showing how unconstitutional it was when they did the OSHA overreach with Ouchie Fauci. And I was like, man, that's so overreaching because now people that need their jobs can't even, and who was an essential worker? And then we started doing all this. So you're not gonna pay me to stay at home. This stimulus bullshit, that ain't giving nobody no money. That ain't shit.
hey
You feel
yo,
them?
this is my pharma.
Holistic health, oh Africa,
Dr. Layla Africa.
Layla Africa. I'm gonna have to check that out right there, man. That's type of like, like stuff we should be on, because the manufactured foods and all that, that's not no accident. It's not an accident, you know. Ain't no coincidences, man. I remember I'm from Mississippi. I was in the fields, man. When Monsanto took over the fields and bought Delta and Pine Land out, they put them Terminator seeds. They killed all the local farmers. They said, get down or lay down. They start suing them because the bees was cross-pollinating their fields with Terminator seeds and sued them and won. How you
Yeah.
gonna get mad at me because your shit infected my shit, which is the heirloom seeds, where when it goes, it can pollinate, but your Terminator seeds, that I have to buy this seed from you every year instead of me just taking the seeds from what we got, cultivating them, and do it like we've been doing it for thousands of years. You want me to buy your seed, and it's already got Roundup in it. So when it grows, when a bug bites it, they die. So, okay, a bug is not a human being, and their life cycle and their body is way different. But you look at a human, so if it kills the bugs and whatever eats it, then when I eat it, it's gonna do something.
Yeah.
I might not die right then, but it's a slow death. And it was a black scientist that came down and exposed that, and they fucking cut him off. And he was like, man, they showed the life cycle of the closest mammal, and it was a mouse. Using a mouse, right? It was just say we're gonna use a mouse right quick and just see on the mouses and the rats or whatever what would happen if we fed them Monsanto corn, Terminator with the Roundup in it versus regular corn. And he found out that they was getting tumors and cancer stuff more if they ate them. But since a mouse does not have, let's say, a 60 or 70-year lifespan, they equated it in their lifespan to us, and it was like roughly around the same time, like that the average person would be able to be succumbed by all these cancers in the
Oh
same
yeah,
time.
in human years.
Right. He determined this, had a video on YouTube. It's been taken down. You couldn't even say Monsanto in chats back in the days. They wouldn't even let you say it. And I know for a fact they took over Delta and Pineland, which is over 2, 4, 5 million acres just there. Damn near. I mean, it's ridiculous the amount of field they have. And now everything is GMO. They bought us out. And the people that didn't want to get down, they had to lay down because they had to either buy their seed or they had to pay them for copyright infringement because they bees brought your seed to my shit. Took over the market. Now they're in control of it. And if you wasn't thinking that shit was a fucking automatic play, you damn fool. Why is the people that's making my food the same people that spray Roundup on the ground? Why is they
Yeah.
putting it in the food? With the people that came up with my Roundup, they was the people that gave us Agent Orange. Might I add? Same people now. But that's okay because the bugs won't eat the plant and we can feed you this bullshit.
With that being said, do you have any closing thoughts?
I would like to say everything that has been discussed on this show is not the opinion of the show owner, and everything I'm saying right now is a conspiracy theory, and do not ever believe anything I just said.
Yes, we're a comedy show. We do parodies. We do not discriminate. We do not hate any. We're not a hate group. We're all for everyone. We don't discriminate against any race, creed, religion, or sexuality. Yo, I thank you so much, brother, and everybody that's listening. Thank you for sparing your precious time listening. But I gotta take my goofy butt to sleep because I gotta go to the bank in the morning. So I gotta get me a few hours of sleep.
Yeah, man. Take care of your business, man. Appreciate it, man. Hey, man, good show, man. Man, keep it up, man. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Thank you, and we are out.